Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 166 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the man throwing the bows, Lord Cognito. How are you today, good sir?
Throwing bows. You know, see, I'm a man. Maddie out here with the muscle shirt. I got to try to match his energy.
Goes to the gym for 2 weeks.
That's that fresh fit. Chest feeling nice. I'm feeling it, man. Well, so what is this? Is Dragon Ball? What are we doing?
This is Dragon Ball. Good read. There you go. There you go. Yeah, this is from a site called justsayin.com. In case anyone's interested. This is my confidence fit, is what I call it. It's the Bardock Super Saiyan 3 Saiyan armor fit. And it just, it fits like a glove, right? Like, yes. I'm not super muscular yet, but like
you out here, you outside. Yeah.
It fits really well where I look a little stronger. And today is a back and biceps day. So after this show, it's like, come on. I haven't worn clothes like these in a while, but like after I'm getting my gym confidence back, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go outside the comfort zone today. I'm gonna wear a little something. Going to Planet Fitness anyway, so I might as well look like a gym creature while I'm there. And then, here we go. And so we're gonna pump some weights after this. But I'm wearing a Super Saiyan 3 Bardock dry fit for anyone who's curious.
I like it. What's funny is I see the gym bros. It's a big deal because you see like the gym bros that I know that are geeks low key, and they'll have either the MCU joint or they'll have like some anime characters. I'm like, you one of my people. Okay, I see what's going on. There's a dude I follow on Instagram. You got to check him out. He's hilarious. He actually has a very inspiring story. His name is Ginger Cleans, and he has like all these crazy fits, and then he does like gaming music. I'm like, he took my bag and actually popularized it. I was kind of hating at first, but I was like, nah, he's doing. He actually was like a power lifter that like snapped his knees or something, and then came back, recovered, and then still did some of his some PRs and stuff like that. But it's good to see. Good to see. But good luck for you on Planet Fitness at rush hour, because you ain't gonna be able to get on that bench at rush hour.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm okay today. I thought about it a second here. Dumbbells are readily available, right? So back in bicep day, I'm good. I don't need many machines to, at least right now, do what I need to do. Unfortunately, sometimes I do like a sitting bicep curl. I like to do that, but dude, this place has only got like 4 benches. I was telling Cog before the show, but I had to get creative with every workout. Like there's no safe workouts here. It's just like, I have a spreadsheet I make. I look at it. I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And I used to just go in and bang that out one after the other. Oh, not anymore. It's like, I'm going to do, I guess, this last workout first. I can't do this because there's dudes just sleeping on the bench. So I'm going to do this chest workout instead. It's been a mess, but it's been a good way to just get comfortable at the gym and just see all the options and go where I need to go and try to get it done nonetheless.
Not fair. You got to be adaptable, because especially like in those situations where, like you said, you change the order of the gyms, and don't be afraid to be like, yo, bro, you've been on your phone. How many more sets you got on the machine? Because we waiting over here. Yeah. I'll be scheming. You got to especially when there's only one of the machine you really need to complete what you're trying to do. Oh yeah, trust me.
The worst is when you get the machine, but like for me, it's the rope for the pull downs. I feel like that's such a rare commodity in the gym. Like I'm always looking for the rope pull down. Whatever gym I've gone to. Yeah, I'm always trying to find the rope for the pull downs, and someone's always got. I'm like, damn, I got the machine, but I don't got the tool to use it.
Yeah, because sometimes you try to do the flat, the one with the curve.
Yeah,
the separate with the rope.
The separation, right? You gotta
that tension,
the triceps, right? Yeah, that's what it's all about.
You gotta get the triceps popping. You already know.
Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a fitness podcast. We talk about games every now and then as well. We appreciate you tuning in. If you are new here, you'd like to support us, get early, ad-free access to Defining Duke and Xbox podcast alongside Sacred Symbols, Summon Sign, Punching Up, Constellation, and the many other things we do here. You can sign up over at patreon.com/laststandmedia. Early access for this show goes live on Thursdays. You also get the chance to write in, just like Diogo Padreo writes in saying, Hey, Tekken addicts. And ain't that the truth? We got a ton of Tekken write-ins this week, dude. People were loving the Tekken glaze from last week.
People loved it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But Diago writes, I'm the person that usually does defining Duke without context on Twitter/X. I didn't ask before, but does that bother you guys or offend you? I did it because usually people clip things to fit their narrative. However, I believe that if we clip something, it should be for positive comedic purposes. P.S. Please play Sanabi. I know I'm going to get clipped, so I may as well laugh about it kind of day. Thank you for writing in, Diogo. I just want to say from my end of things, the clipping is only annoying, and it's not even annoying anymore because you just come to expect it, but it was annoying when you could tell, like, okay, so we have the write-ins to exist as also this, not just this place you ask questions, but like you could challenge us here. Like if you disagree with a take or you think we said something stupid or you need to correct us, like this is where the audience gets involved to just challenge us. And these many people are so afraid to challenge us because they know we would school them that they instead clip us out of context. They fit an argument that a particular group of people who believe we're dumb enough to say, and they put it on Twitter. That's the annoying type of clipping. Taking us and making us look dumb for fun, that's do it all day. We love that. But Cog, any thoughts on what Diago had shared with us today?
Yeah, Diago's a homie. Salute to him. He's a big Tekken guy, big fan of his and the ILP realm of the Lords and stuff. It's good to see him in the Dukes. But yeah, that stuff, what it is, they always get me in these like out of pocket positions, like Lord Beefy, like clowning. It's funny, don't get me wrong, but I like he'll get like a little call, like, oh man, I forgot what I was saying. We were talking about, I think Tekken or something. I was like, yeah, you just gotta pound them out, and they were clipped. I was like,
that's it. That's all.
So they be getting me in pause worthy clips. That's what they like to do to me.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's
I can relate.
Oh yeah, you know you the king.
Yeah, I can relate.
You got the title right now.
All right, we got a couple of Apple podcast reviews that I would love to spotlight because we haven't done this in a while, so we're going to just ask our audience how we've grown a lot and we haven't bugged you for a good hot few months here. If you want to support the show, a good way to do it for free, might I add, is leaving some reviews for the Apple Podcasts. It just pushes up in the algorithm, lets us grow the audio platform more. As you've seen for yourself, the YouTube side of things has grown for Defining Duke. We're doing pretty solid over here. Audio is kind of like one of those mysteries where we're climbing up the rankings, and when we're up on the rankings, then your show is recommended more. We're a partner with Spotify, as we mentioned before, as well. So we're trying our best to really grow the audio presence. You can be a part of that. If you got the time, we appreciate it. We do have a few reviews here that are recent. Let's go to one from just a few days ago. This comes from Hank77, who writes, Xbox show with great co-host chemistry and a way to get level-headed news and analysis. We all know if you catch your partner out in the club, it most likely ain't a one-time thing. 5-star podcast.
I like that one. If I must admit, that was what I came up with. The fly. It was kind of funny. Now I look back.
Your analogies are the most hilarious, goated thing about you. You just don't miss on an analogy. You never do. It's your thing, and it's so good.
Appreciate it. That was a good one. I like that one a lot.
Hissei93 also wrote in, this was a month ago, so that's how long it's been. That's why I was like, you know what, I got the right to bug you all now. He writes, the sacred crossover episodes are always a good time, so we appreciate that. We do the occasional crossover here from time to time. Otherwise, we have 3 more we can go through. These go back to December. We appreciate those of you who took the time to do this. This one's from Andrew J. Clark. I've been listening from the beginning, and the show only gets better with time. Love Maddie and Cog and their chemistry. A pleasure to listen to every week. Cog, people love us together. We're like a little couple.
Little couple, you know. We gotta like it, man. Come on.
Ricky Lima 21 writes, just finished this episode, and Maddie, you were damn wrong. Nicest thing I heard after the game show and Rockstar's trailer release for GTA 6. You were so damn effing wrong about it. What would Rockstar do for their... This is a 5-star review, by the way, because it felt wrong. Overall, great podcast for Xbox people, but in general, for gamers, solid, slightly biased opinion. Check the show name podcast.
I wonder. Yo, that's funny. That's funny.
We're not done yet. Slightly biased opinion. Check show name podcast. Sounds like me and my bestie were smart enough to record and post our convos about the gaming industry. 2 dudes having fun with knowledge and experience. I love these reviews because they're such like backhanded fucking
backhanded compliment.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, 2 idiots. They're great.
They have a good show. These 2 dumb guys talking.
All right, we got two more here. I want to include this last one because it's a 1-star review. But before that, we got another 5-star. This one comes from therafter. Been here since day one. We appreciate you. And then Siege Damage says that we're biased and uninformed. And it also doesn't bother creating chapters for accessibility and ease of use, which is interesting. Okay. Because I think we have timestamps.
We have timestamps now.
Yes, okay. We always do. But it's okay. We caught Siege Damage on a bad day.
He was slipping on that day.
We appreciate you all writing in. We do have a ton more here to go through. But for those of you who want to be a part of the show for free, feel free to write your reviews. We'll start reading them again. That was a good laugh. That felt great, man.
Good. That was real good.
All right. Let's get into some stuff before we begin here. For starters, 4 new features coming to Starfield in its March update. For those who don't remember, we learned a couple months ago that Starfield is going to be getting updates every 6 or so weeks. So this is the update for March, where they're adding expressions to photo mode. Now you can make your character and your companions match the mood of your shot. And Vasco is getting some new poses too. They're improving the scanner so you can continue to use it to monitor the world around you while harvesting resources or opening doors. Ready for your next mission, setting course on an inactive mission will now make it active. We also tracked down the elusive David Barron, who had mysteriously been unavailable at the SSNN for many players in Sabotage. I'm not happy with this game support. I'm not trying to be impatient, man, but like we're 6 months in at this point almost. Really 5, I apologize. We need to do more here. Like I know there's more on the way. I know we have the expansion. I know there'll be a point in time where I just sound like this opinion will age like milk. But in this moment here and now, it's really sad to see Starfield support. Like it's just not good. And I'm not even talking massive content updates, by the way. I'm not looking again like I did originally with Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk. I'm trying to understand they're establishing a pipeline, building out, preparing for the future, all that stuff. But I look at Starfield and where it's at, it's like we haven't even had like a noteworthy mechanic. The most noteworthy thing that's added, ladies and gentlemen, has been eating food with the press of a button when it's out in the overworld. Like that's not, come on. Like I'm not even asking for survival mode. Like we need a little something mechanically or content wise. Like we can't just be rolling these out like photo mode updates and acting. That's like deep into the life, like a little kind of pick me up update, not early on. But Cog, am I over-analyzing, over-critiquing this? What do you think of the March update for Starfield?
Now, you know I tend to be positive when it comes to stuff. However, I got to be real. Maddie, in the beginning, I thought you were being hard on them maybe a month, 2 months out when we had this conversation. But you're spot on. Like, I love this game. Y'all know that. The problem is still in my heart. It's still there. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we have to admit, like, I really looked at it, I'm like, man, it's been September this game dropped. Yeah. And there's really not been any big substantial updates. A lot of this to me feels very bug fixy, course correction. Even then, the pace, the cadence of it is still a little slow. So I guess my surprise is with Xbox's support, you know, are they getting what they need? I thought it would be a much quicker cadence because here's my major frustration. I die on this hill. Y'all know I love this game. I want an excuse to go back in there. Like I'm like, damn, I want to, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to tie it in with whatever the next update is. And I get it. I'm not expecting shattered space right now. I'm not expecting that. But they teased us. But remember, they were talking about, you know, transportation or whatever it was.
Travel,
new ways to travel. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to let y'all cook. But man, this is a while. And I guess the reason why I'm frustrated is because I feel it could be a potential opportunity missed the more it goes away from the zeitgeist because they're not updating in a timely fashion, similar to another big game that we loved. That was, you know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not going to go and say this is Halo Infinite. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I feel they're missing while the fire is hot to keep going. Now it's cooled off. All this other stuff is here. So maybe the thought process is the only thing in their defense, the only thought process is maybe they can't get it done in time and they want to do everything like a Taken King moment where you drop shattered space and then you have all this other stuff. And that's what I'm hoping at this point. But I have to admit, I am disappointed that we have not gotten substantial Starfield updates, in my opinion, outside of quality of life stuff. I mean, putting the duck face in the photo, that's cute. I'm a scanning dude. I am the guy that lives on my scanner. You helping me out with opening doors. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what's up with like real advancing content or like just like a little? Remember when we had when Skyrim's give you like, what is it, Heartland? Or just some little mini content that's like, it's a little added thing to give me an excuse to go back in. I just really hope that there's a big content roadmap for this thing, man. I want to go back to Starfield so much.
Yeah. You have to wonder, we're in March now as we read this update. What do you think about the theory that I feel pretty confident that Shattered Space will show up at the big summer showcase? I think that's where it's going to get revealed.
Definitely.
You think they're holding out on sort of here's the announcement, it's coming this month, and we just dropped this big update today? I feel like that makes sense, right? When you got everyone's attention maybe, and you do the softer updates leading into it.
I 100% think that's what's going on. And again, like you said earlier, these comments may age like milk, right? But we just got to be honest with the length of time between then and, and the release date. But my thought process is probably because the only thing that makes sense is they know this. So there must be a whole scheduled rollout window. They got like at least 10 games coming out this year, and they're really cheering from the mountaintops 2024 as far as games and content. So in my opinion, we will definitely see Starfield at this showcase, the announcement of the thing, and then a quality life thing. So yeah, I think that's probably what the plan is, and hopefully they knock it out the park. It just sucks waiting. I just want content, man. I want to get back in there, but we'll see.
Absolutely. All right, so that's what's going on with Starfield. Next up, we go for another heartstring. Saber Interactive is going private, as it seems like Embracer Group is going to let them go. They're going to sell them for a $500 million deal. It's been reported. And Saber is taking KOTOR Remake with it.
How we feeling, baby? We back? We so back?
Yeah, we're kind of back. Yeah, we're kind of back, bro. This is... All right, so like best case scenario would have been like none of this happening in the first place, right? So now in this situation we're in where everything's dramatically changed and this project feels like it's just hanging on by a thread, which I feel like it might still be, because it still has to be evaluated by these potential new investors and seeing if it's like worth to keep going. Like, how much have we spent on this? What, like, they're also working on Warhammer 40K Space Marine too, right? And they might look at it and say, well, that's coming out sooner. Like, dude, shelve that. And then the leaders there might say, we've shelved this a ton of times. Like, we're not going to get this done till 2027. At that point, is it worth it? Et cetera, et cetera. So with all of that aside, right now, my immediate feelings are this is the best case scenario for where things were headed. I say that because you look at Embracer Group, and I think it kind of paints the picture as to why. They're also selling off Gearbox, apparently. That's supposed to be announced this month. That's another story we can get into in this section. But they're getting rid of companies. They're canceling games. We saw leaked gameplay for some Time Splitters game that was ongoing underneath them that then got canceled. Just tons of studios shutting down overall. So Saber getting out alive, great in the first place. Saber is a really good studio. You know, we've seen them do like World War Z. They did the Witcher 3 port. Like, they do good stuff. Their Warhammer work has been great. Like, they're very solid, which is why they're not my first pick by any means for KOTOR Remake, but I do feel comfortable compared to where all my other favorite IP are going to various studios as of this moment in time. Unfortunately, both of them going under the Embracer Group. Black Forest Games is stuck with The Last Ronin underneath Embracer. And so, Embracer? Yeah, that is Embracer. Yeah. And they had half their staff laid off. So KOTOR Remake, from that angle, right? KOTOR Remake just getting out is good. Not having to answer to bean counters necessarily, who are always about like, we grow at all costs, is good. This can give the game more time to breathe. And what this does put it in a position to do, Cog, as I kick it to you, is now they got to find a publisher. Last we heard multiple times, PlayStation wanted out. And so if PlayStation wants out, Saber Interactive is a free partner who should swoop in and start publishing this game. Who makes sense?
I mean, there is someone with a storied history. You going to get the box? You about to go get the box? Just to remind us where this thing started at, you know. Me and Mr. Woo, yo, no, those boxes are clean.
I got 3 different ones here. Bro. I got a Blockbuster case, the normal one, and the Platinum Hits.
You know what I miss about the Platinum Hits? The classic green with the black. I miss that logo, that gold logo, Xbox Live across. Yeah. I miss that. Ooh, that's clean. Shout
Yeah,
out to
I
Physical
always
Games.
loved the Xbox Live enabled bar. That was
Yes.
always so
It
nice.
was like a thing, like, yo, I could do something online with this. But yeah, man, I mean, again, if the relationship makes sense and provided, in fairness to Xbox, that what is presented, right, is something that looks quality, that has a lot of potential. To me, this is the shot to go in. I don't know if you could do some type of, what's up with Xbox Publishing, global publishing, they can get involved. That we all know that in the old Xbox era, there were what we consider ones that got away, which is the Mass Effects. KOTOR would be under that. Because remember, Mass Effect 1 was under that banner. Titanfall 1 at one point was under that banner. And like we was talking earlier, sometimes I feel back in the day that the people in leadership positions didn't have gamer sensibilities and maybe looking at immediate short-term cost versus long-term brand growth, brand strength, establishing identity, which I think they understand now. But to me, it would be like ultimate story of it coming back home. Right.
Yeah.
Not saying it even has to be exclusive, but at least get the marketing and publishing and maybe as Dust Falls the thing. Yeah, Game Pass it or 1 year exclusive something, because KOTOR is synonymous with your platform, bro. Yeah. It just is. And this is a shot, again, provided in defense of what is shown is quality and looks like it has potential. Because I mean, if they do come in there and they showcase the stop motion, like if it's not looking good, then I can't get mad at that point. But you can't really mess up KOTOR, can you? Like it's
that's why I was so annoyed when this all started to go south. I'm like, how do you mess this up this bad? Like, it's right. Like, I'd have more forgiveness if you were reigniting the series and it's like this whole new take, but it's like you're remaking a classic. Like, it's not in the sense of design, at least, it's not that hard. Like, it's right there. There's obviously things that they have to account for and change, and that'll happen. But I feel a lot of those changes are natural. And so, yeah, it's why it's so frustrating to see KOTOR Remake where it is. But I agree. Like, I don't care if it's exclusive or not. I would buy this. Could go to the Ouya. I would have bought an Ouya for this game. So, like, I don't care where it goes or who it's exclusive to. I just want it to exist. And I do think if PlayStation wants out, Xbox might be one of the best chances they've got right now. If they're, free from a publisher, it's like, okay, who's funding this thing now? And so they've got to find that. So that's likely going to maybe slow some of this development down again until they find an investor on that level. And I imagine LucasArts probably wants it to be multi-plat and probably wants to have that funder like Xbox, maybe even a Game Pass deal. Like, if you're the private investors, you look at what we learned from the Insomniac hack with like Spider-Man 2 and just like how much these companies will take in a licensed deal. And we see a lot of companies walking away from licensed games because of the cost of them. So I could see Xbox being a good fit, not only for publishing potentially, but definitely Game Passes. Of like, you're a private investor, you spend $500 million, you're like, okay, we get this much upfront cash right away. How does that help us in the near term versus the long term? I also think my hopium is that I know many people online have a very sour view of Star Wars, but if you're like an investor and you're getting a Star Wars project in development and you've just spent that money, I feel like you look at that and say, like, that's a chance to just make it back if a Star Wars product does really well. So that's how I've kind of interpreted it. Is I feel like it's best case scenario for where we're at with the KOTOR remake, which I know isn't much. But Jason Schreier had reported, he's been all over this situation. He had reported that the KOTOR remake, like, what was shown off was, and I've seen it, like, it doesn't look bad at all. I was thrilled with what I saw, but what he has said is that it wasn't like PlayStation saw it and went, ugh, what is that? That's but more like a clash of like scope and scale versus like what they were thinking. So that's the other thing. That's why I said this has to go through evaluations and a new owner when that transition happens.
Got it.
And they may look at it and say, like, nope, too big. How much more do you need for this thing? Like, unless we get Xbox or whoever, like, nope, sorry. So
got it.
We'll see, of course. It's still going to be a fight to get this thing out, probably.
Yeah, see, that makes sense, because that was my only fear, because I was just like, I had to be honest, my only thing is like, bro, PlayStation walked away from this.
Yeah.
And Sony's got their eye on the ball. I've always give their talent, their scouting team, when it comes to locking down something from a third-party exclusive, which we will get into later, they're very good at that. So I was like, damn, was it that bad? But to your point, if it's scope, that changes it, because it's like, what if they thought they were getting into just a standard remake
remaster or whatever, and then they want to Final Fantasy VII the situation, and they got a big thing, and they're like, yo, bro, the scope of this budget, we not comfortable with that. So that would make sense. That makes a lot more sense to me.
I am praying it gets to the finish line though, for real. Like
this is
such a shame to see it get fucking canceled, man.
Yeah, I feel you.
What do you think beyond Saber? Embracer's also planning to sell off Gearbox, so they're going to be gone again. This is again apparently happening this month. So, any thoughts on Gearbox potentially going independent or to a private investor as well?
Yeah, I think the theme for me when I read this news is that live to fight another day. To me, I'm not about studios being shuttered. And generally what's happening, especially with, Embracer, some of these companies that maybe didn't have a precise plan on what they were going to do with a lot of these IPs or the assets they were buying, we're seeing now, in the age of the layoff and stuff like that, studios are closing. We just talked about recently on ILP, the whole, situation that's going on with PlayStation and what is it, PlayStation London. And, I'm a person that I view PlayStation 1 as one of my favorite consoles. So I grew up with the Wipeouts, the F Formula 1s. Those were high quality games. So it's like a whole identity that's just wiped from the walls and you don't ever get. So at least you live to fight another day, right? You live to now go take your talents elsewhere, do something else. And that's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, Gearbox, obviously they got legendary history. We already know, right? So we'll see what happens with them. But at least they were afforded this opportunity because others haven't been so lucky with all the stuff that's going on.
Baldur's Gate 3, Cog. This is one that Xbox fans had to wait a while for. Then there was the save data issue. Now we have a physical version. And just a little update here. The physical version of Baldur's Gate 3 for Xbox will ship on 4 discs, thanks to a storage limit that Xbox discs have compared to PlayStation, which I think is 3 discs. But for Xbox, it'll be 4 discs, which I don't know if this is accurate, but it's at least one of the first times this has happened since Lost Odyssey, which is also a 4-disc game. So someone can fill in the gaps there and let me know if it's happened since then. Please do. Lost Odyssey came out in 2008. So it may be a little history here, but nonetheless, Xbox fans, you're getting a lot of discs your way. Kudos to Larian for doing this, by the way, because they do have to pay extra to print another disc for this. So I don't know if they're going to print a lot of Xbox copies. For you collectors out there, it might be a more expensive version to get down the line, but I don't think that really matters to the game like Baldur's Gate 3. Still, physical version, 4 discs, Cog. Any thoughts on this?
Not much to add. I'm just happy it's coming. Like the extra disc type of stuff doesn't bother me in the least, but I'm just happy that Baldur's Gate is just such a huge game, so for them to get the physical copy that it's being made, regardless to the extra disc gate or whatever we call in this, it's a non-issue for me, saying kind of thing. I'm just happy that Xbox is still allowing companies to do it. That's my main thing. I don't want to get to a situation where it's like, oh, no, we're out, just make it for the other platforms and that's it. Like, at least it's still there. Now, it may eventually go there long term, but as of right now, it's still there, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, couple of hardware-related announcements. We have Fallout controllers that were announced and available in Xbox's Design Lab. You can get those now for about $80. There was also a Spongebob Xbox Series X revealed. Michael Buffalo has the write-in. Hey, Dukes, I know Cog doesn't like creeping at the playground, but Maddie, I love that, by the way. But Maddie, but you would totally hang at the playground, by the way. What the fuck does that mean, Mike? Come on.
Playground creeping. Oh.
Yeah. Come on now. Of course I like SpongeBob, but I'm not. But Maddie, what do you think about SpongeBob's Xbox Series X? I think it actually looks fire, as well as the controller, and even comes with Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Will this be a collector's item for you, Maddie? Thanks for all you guys do, and have a Juan Soto is not going to Queens type of day. Yeah, man, come on. Bro. Well, that's a double zinger now. Now you got Cog too. What the hell?
Bro, that was hard. Too soon. The blow was too soon.
So I gotta be that guy for a moment here. Okay, let's recount some of the more collectible Xbox pieces of hardware, shall we? So we got Halo Infinite's Xbox Series X. I think it came with a controller, right? There was that too. And so
I got the 117 joint, the Elite. They made a special Elite.
That's what it was, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So they did that. Makes sense, right? We thought like, okay, like we're gonna get big exclusives, big collectibles.
Yes, big exclusives.
Couple of years roll by. It's the end of 2023. Starfield. No console. You get this. I'm looking at it right now. You get a wrap for $50. I got like a little fucking tortilla to put your console in.
For the
you get a controller.
Yes.
That right here.
Yes,
beautiful controller. Still one of my favorite controller designs.
Constellation Edition. I got my
Constellation Edition.
We got the watch.
Yes, got the watch. Headset. Very little collectible consoles. And then like next one we get. That's, by the way, not limited to a sweepstakes, but one that's available for purchase is SpongeBob. Who the fuck greenlights this stuff, man? Who greenlights this, man? That's all I'm trying to figure out. I'm not complaining when I said, who does the math here and goes, wrap that. SpongeBob though? Yo, print it. Put that shit right on the console and make it available.
Why the rap dude took control? Rap. So I feel you use a rap kind of software. Okay.
Yeah, there's literally positions, right? There's the hardware analyzer, and then there's the rap guy. And the rap guy is looking at all these IP, and he said Starfield was a rap game. But Nick All-Star Brawl is not a rap game.
Get in production. Get that one going.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I gotta ask, like, how does that happen? It's not even just Starfield, but like how's it? I mean, I love it, but am I gonna buy it? No, I do like my Starfield rap. I have to say, with all my slander, I do like my Starfield rap. Like, it's just that's what we say with Xbox and covering them. It's like there's never predictable. There's never an easy week because it's like you see the raps, you're like, oh, that's the vision, right? Like, okay, like anything that they want to put their marketing into, it's a $50 wrap instead of a whole console that they don't really care if it sells. And then they do an exclusive SpongeBob system. I'm like, okay. With Nick All-Star Brawl, it's not even an exclusive.
Not even exclusive.
Not even Game Pass.
You ain't even... I didn't get it.
Amazing.
I'm with you. This has been on Twitter. I see in the Discord. Shout out to my man here, Soul. I think he has something. It's like, bro, like we would go crazy for a Hellblade 2 console. We would go crazy for, some of these big exclusives. Like, it just seems like none of the first party games are getting this treatment. And at first, I was like, you know what? They got a refresh coming. The leaks. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give y'all a pass. Refresh coming, Brooklyn, whatever, right? Okay, so because remember, you're gonna go into a spherical shape, so, allegedly, right? So if that happens, part of me understood it, but still, though, it's like, I guess my thing is this: we know that their revenue is also it's more than just console, right? We get that, but console's still a part of it. And if your console is lagging, wouldn't this kind of help promote console sales, which could promote a potential Game Pass, future subscription? Like, it is my thing. At the very least, Little Man should be getting them because he's a digital only. He should get a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's how I'm feeling because he's a direct into Game Pass in a way. He kind of forcing you in a way, unless you're just going to be a digital buying only guy and not going to, bend the knee to Game Pass. You just so staunch in your ways. So that's the frustration here. So I just feel it's a missed opportunity, and I don't get it because they're so good at hardware. When it comes to marketing hardware and controllers,
oh, dude,
man, they'll put up a vignette. They'll do all this stuff. The
controllers are like their kink, man. Like they They love a good new controller.
Facts. I forgot my man that used to be on the team over there. I think he's left now. Like that team, kudos. They know how to market those devices and those peripherals. But yeah, this is very strange to me. Like especially what's going to happen with Hellblade? What's going to happen with Avowed? Like these studios, why are they not
Call
getting
of Duty?
That? I'm gonna be fighting in the streets if I don't see no Call of Duty, bro. If you sign ABK to get people in the game, and you don't have
the rap guy's got to step up, right? Like he's got to do something about this, man.
I don't want to see him. Like, this is I don't want to see the rap guy. Like, I don't want to see you, bro. Like, no, keep to yourself. You got too much control in the building. I don't know how they let you in here. No, rap guy. Like, it's cool and all. Like, can we get a physical console that got the job? Yeah. Last rant is that I miss. Remember when Gears had the series? I mean, the 1S, Xbox 1S, with the sound and the dun, 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 dun. That's what I missed. They even had the Elite. Let's get to that.
Yeah. Are you picking up this new Fallout controller?
This is a Maddie question. This is.
I just wanted to, set it up. Yeah. Of course I am.
You know you are. I will get it if they are marketed in conjunction with one of the questions we have. It's something that they got coming up. Remember, there's a big movie thing that's supposed to be happening. Yeah. So one would think you should have a nice rollout with the movie and these things. But we'll see. We'll see.
I hear you. Yes, but this is one that Xbox, they're doing good work with their controllers because, like, I roast Xbox fans all the time for their, like, controller collections they show off. I'm like, dude, you need one. And it can be plain as white, plain as black, whatever it is. You just need one thing that has buttons that function. You don't need this whole, like, crazy setup with a ton of controllers. And so I always joke about it, especially when Redfall came out. That was like my pop-off moment. I was like, you guys celebrate controllers more than games. But then, Bethesda Game Studios doing God's work. You look at the Starfield controller. Ooh. You look at the Fallout controller. I'm like, I can't say no.
Yeah,
I can't say no.
Bethesda, this does not apply to you. You get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cool over there. But yeah, I agree. Like, and shout out to that headset because I want to give the headset its proper, the Starfield headset. That joint is proper due because I love that thing too. But yeah, it's just Xbox Game Studios. We got to do better. We got to do better, man. Yeah, and I would like a proper explanation as to why it's not happening.
All right. Well, that's the funky hardware section of the show. We got from a former Xbox exclusive developer in Moon Studios, a showcase of their upcoming game, No Rest for the Wicked, which is due out in early access in April. So it was about 20 minutes of gameplay posted on IGN. Before anyone wonders, we are also going to talk about what creative director Thomas Mahler had to say about Game Pass. But for starters, Soulcracker1 writes in, howdy Dukes, No Rest for the Wicked got an extended gameplay overview this week, and it looked incredible. The weighty combat and unique view on how weapon rarity works in the game has me thinking that Moon Studios has another smash hit on the way. Did you check it out? What are y'all's thoughts? Thanks for all you do. How am I going to finish this game before the next one I want to play comes out kind of day? And I can relate to that, bro. Once we get to the what we're playing section, I'm struggling out here. We'll talk. But Cog, did you have a chance to check out No Rest for the Wicked?
Very intimately. I remember when it was at the Game Awards, and it's funny. Full disclosure, we watched it. One of my guys, Fonzarelli, was on it. He was kind of lukewarm in the middle because he didn't know what it was. And then when they were like, the makers are, I'm like, oh, that's Moon Studios. I was like, say less.
It's a wrap. Yep.
It's a wrap. And I started seeing it, and I'm like, oh, it's handcrafted, and this thing looks phenomenal. So yeah, I am definitely on board with this. And a true story, full disclosure, is that they did contact me and they were like, hey, they love my natural reaction to just seeing it. And they just asked for permission to use the footage. So I spoke to Addicts. I was like, yeah, absolutely, no doubt. So look, I always try to be transparent with the audience, so stuff like that. But anyway, look, this game looks phenomenal. Tons of potential. I'm ready. Let's go. Yeah. And we know the pedigree.
Yeah. Yeah, the combat looks really good. They spotlighted in particular the rarity system, which I know Soulcracker wrote in about, but you had like a comment which she was like, they would think it was Thomas Mahler was trying to say, like, it's not junk, like it's not just stuff you sell, but like these are some of the strongest weapons in the game that have the most crafting potential. And then there was one that was purple, which you thought would be like your typical pretty good legendary or whatever. And he said, like, this is a cursed item, so it's really strong, but it has a pullback somewhere. And then there was like the highest tier, which was one that had a ton of different positive effects that they called like unique weapons. So I'm very interested in that, not only because of the loot, which is going to drive this game, but I guess we'll get into it. He talks, my man Thomas talks a ton of shit on his Twitter account. Dude, he is throwing so much shade at Diablo. He's like, yeah, come check out early access. No horse skins here. In fact, our game is worth less than a horse skin. We don't have, he's like, I focus on good level design, because it matters, not because I want to make them big so I can give you horses to sell you skins for. Like, this guy fucking hates what Blizzard did with horses, man. It's amazing. But he also was saying on his Twitter account, hey, if you want to support Moon Studios, go ahead and buy Ori on Steam. And that was really the long and short of it. It was unprompted, but he posted it nonetheless. And then someone responded saying, what about Xbox? To which he said, Well, that's on Game Pass. So that's not really helping us. And buying it on Steam would help us now. So Sean Y has the right in. Hey Dukes, Thomas Mahler, director on Ori, recently tweeted saying that if people were interested in supporting the game, they should buy it on Steam instead of going through Xbox because Game Pass does not help them. How does this work? Do developers not get any royalties for future engagement on their game through the service? So, Cog, we have this situation here with Moon Studios, who their first 2 games came to Xbox exclusively and were funded by Xbox directly. And now we're hearing that playing on Game Pass doesn't help them. What do you think about what Thomas said here? Because I was going through the replies, just seeing, checking the temperature, and a lot of people were very upset. How dare you? They funded your game. We could still buy it on the Xbox store. We still buy games. So was there an overreaction from one side or the other here, Cog?
I admit this is brought to my attention. It's like, what's up with your man? Why is he out of pocket? He's talking reckless out here. What's going on? This is disrespectful. So I took a look at the comments, and all right, to the letter of the law, he is not incorrect. He is correct. Here's the thing. He got his bag from Game Pass years ago, right? So at this stage of Ori's cycle, right, it's out of the zeitgeist, it's on other platforms. If you buy it, right, and this is including on Xbox, if you buy it, but the reality is he knows that being on the Xbox platform, that it's still in Game Pass, right? That he's not going to get, the studio currently in this stage is not going to get any extra money if you didn't buy, if you play it on Game Pass on Xbox, you didn't buy it on that. That's a fact. We're so past the life cycle of the game now. So in theory, he is factually correct. I'm not going to take that away from him. But what I did like is his further explanations, because one thing, he shut down all the console fanboys, right? He's just like, look, because a lot of people was like, yeah. So, obviously a couple on the PlayStation side was like, yeah, that's right. And this, that, and the third. And he's just like, whoa, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to support your war, right? But he said, let's be clear. I believe in Phil's vision as far as, because I know a lot of things about third-party games going everywhere. He believes that to be something that is going to be the future of gaming, almost like a ubiquitous future that, some people are alluding to. And he also said, like, he made a good point. He's kind of like, hey, don't think PlayStation is not leaning that direction at some point either. So I just thought overall, what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of controversy with him. I know there's some controversy with the studio. I'm not going to ignore that. Yeah. But in this case, if you take the emotionality out of it, the man got his Game Pass bag years ago. That was the deal they worked out based on estimations or what have you. That's over with. Now that same old game, if the studio wants to get money, yeah, they're gonna promote it on the other platforms where they can get money, where it's not on Game Pass, where most likely that base is not going to spend any more retail money for it because it's still in the service. So it makes sense to me, but it did seem to ruffle the feathers of the Xbox community, almost like to see if he was not grateful or something like that. And I didn't get that energy based on his further replies.
Yeah. And I think what people need to start being a little less sensitive over stuff like this. I get it. Xbox fans have been neglected, but like I can only sympathize for so long before I feel like some people are just acting like babies. It's like, because unfortunately it's just what social media has come down to, which is people are way smarter than they let themselves act online. Always, right? They always act dumber to try to have the gotcha moment or the zing or the reason to complain. Like one of those three, people will intentionally look dumb, which I don't get. Like, why would you want to look less intelligent? But people intentionally do that to have this leg to stand on, to pick a fight with someone. And I'm not even defending Thomas. Like, just based on what we've read about the studio and what happened during the development of both Ori games, like it's tragic. And we've covered that here and it's awful. But it's not even defense of him. But there are many developers who share this similar mindset of like, hey, we got our Game Pass bag, and we're not going to get more money if you play it there. So yeah, if you want to support the studio, which is your question, then go buy it. It's that simple. Now, Steam and Xbox have similar platform cuts to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure Steam is 30% and so is Xbox. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong. So I don't know why he didn't say just go buy the game, but maybe there's something with Steam I'm missing. With Xbox, though, I think probably why he's trying to cut it out is what he said online was like, yeah, then you'll see it on Game Pass and you'll just go and play it through there. To Sean's question about Game Pass deals, from what we've learned in our separate interviews throughout defining Duke Ultimate's lifespan, is that each Game Pass deal is different. I imagine Ori was added during the first one, at least, was during some of the inception of like what Game Pass would be.
Yeah, very.
And I imagine it was more lump sum based, where I'm sure more developers are like lump sum plus royalties afterwards, depending on what game. Some developers might just want royalties for how many players play the game. Like there are so many different metrics from what we've understood that gauge that money. Where I'm guessing with a game like Ori, it would just be a lump sum type of deal. And so I don't really blame Thomas for his approach here. I don't know why anyone would. Like, yeah, he doesn't gain anything out of it. His company doesn't gain anything out of it. That's not to say you're wrong for playing it on Game Pass, because maybe you'll enjoy Ori on Game Pass and say, hey, Moon Studios makes good stuff, just like me and Cog have said before, and you'll go try No Rest for the Wicked. So I think there's a benefit there, but I don't know why, for all the criminal shit we've read about Moon Studios, this is the thing that we're criminalizing. Like, I don't make money when you play a game through a subscription service. I make it if you buy it. People are like, are you fucking kidding me? I get the insinuation that people took more umbrage with, which is that Thomas is basically saying like Xbox fans don't buy games. We all know that's not true. Xbox fans do buy games, but it's just, again, like, go buy it through the Xbox store then. But it's like, why would you? It's on Game Pass, and most people engaged in that digital ecosystem are going to Game Pass. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people are just intentionally missing the point. Like, you get it, you know why, and if you were in issues, you know what you'd be saying too. So why are we pretending it's not the case?
You're absolutely on fire. What it is the sensitivity right now with the third party stuff, I think, is heightened this reaction. Yeah. And it's like, remember, for a lot of OGs, Ori meant so much because it was one of the few bright spots during the Xbox One era, a true masterpiece, true emotional masterpiece. I've had people hit me up and like, Cog, they're like, I ain't gonna front.
Yeah,
couple
especially
of
Will of the Wisp, man.
Yeah, Will of the Wisp, and the music and the art style. And I get it. That's your baby. So, you adopted this as the Xbox thing. But you made a fantastic point, which I also forgot, which how early that deal was. That was in Game Pass's inception. And again, we don't have every fine detail of his deal, but I think you made good assumptions as far as what could potentially be happening. And at that point, that bag been over. Like, so yeah, he's just being brutally honest. If you're going to support his studio at this current stage with that particular game, he gonna get his bag if you buy it other places, because he knows it's on Game Pass. So that's not wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But I loved his further follow-ups and clarity to shut a lot of the fanboys on both sides of it and really explain himself. And also, like I said, he dropped some gems on where he thinks the industry is going. Like, he's like, don't get it twisted. He was like, I can see PlayStation doing this, and I can see, like, he has some interesting comments that I thought.
100%. So that's what's going on with Moon Studios, between No Rest for the Wicked, which looks really good, and the controversy surrounding Game Pass. Let's move on next to a little bit of a rumor here, if you will, from Jeff Grubb, who says that Dragon Age Dreadwolf is still on track to be released in 2024, last he heard, and that BioWare feels confident about that window. All right, Cog. Are we ready for a little more Dragon Age this year? Are you shaking your head? What's going on?
I'm just like, when you get to the point, what's that, the boy who cried wolf? Like, I'm getting to that point. Like, listen, if Grubb said it, though, I'm on it. Like, Grubb's the homie. Like, I believe it. It's just that I'm just so out of sight, out of mind with this. So it's been so long, and it's just like, man, am I ever going to get this sequel to Inquisition? So, but we'll see. If it's coming 2024, they're great, because 2024 would definitely, obviously, comparison to 2023. Not saying that the games are not quality, but it looks like now we're starting to get an idea of what's going to fill out the rest of the year. Stuff like that. Yeah,
still kind of vacant when you look at it. So.
Second half is kind of it. We're like very top heavy for the most part. We know a few things here and there in the second half, but we want to know what's going to bring it together. So
yeah,
hopefully they land this plane.
I hope so too. Yeah, I'm really pulling for them, especially because EA is undergoing so much change again. The pressure was already on BioWare for this game to do well. I mean, it's been in development for a long while, so it needs to make money. That's like objective one, really. but also it has to be this confidence restoration game to show people like, hey, we're not the Anthem Andromeda devs. Even for people who defend Andromeda, I get it. The gameplay was fun, but like storytelling, just the chops weren't there. Let's be honest. Like it just wasn't as good as their prior work. A lot of people felt some hope restored with Legendary Edition. Like they didn't really change anything. They just made good, meaningful gameplay updates. And I think that was a reminder to both BioWare and people that like when BioWare is good, BioWare is good, and people love good BioWare. So I'm really hoping with the extra time they've spent, I'm a believer in the vision that Gary McKay has for that studio. He's really, I think, pulled a lot of Band-Aids off. Like he did the unfortunate layoffs, but he also like moved Star Wars: The Old Republic externally, which I know sucks as a Old Republic diehard fan. Like, yeah, it sucks, but like that is a burden on that team that they did not need to maintain anymore. They need to focus on their biggest games, like moving on from Anthem 2.0. That had to be done. You could not continue to try to resurrect that project. Like he's done a lot of, in my opinion, very necessary moves for the company that previous leaders were avoiding. And so I'm a believer in his vision, and I hope his constant communication pays off when Dreadwolf is shown off. I'll admit, a little skeptical about the gameplay approach, because what we saw in that leak, while it was very much prototype, was action kind of God of War style combat. And not that it was perfect in Origins, but I do miss, I would even say, an evolution of Inquisition with like tactics and action. If they do that, then maybe I'll be more sold on it. But I think the most important thing, if Baldur's Gate 3 taught us anything, it's that storytelling, that presentation that a BioWare style game has is extremely captivating. And if they nail this here with Dragon Age Dreadwolf, it could be a big deal, but they have to nail it. That's the problem. Like I don't think they can afford, and people have been saying this for years, and I've not bought into like when Anthem failed, they're like, BioWare's dead. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. But now is at that point in the timeline where like EA's undergoing changes, and like they've been patient with you for 2 games in a row. Like I think heads will roll if this does not do well, if it does not review well. So I think they understand the pressure, and hopefully with that they respond pretty well, which I'm just hoping they do. I want to have confidence in them, but I know it's more like hoping than anything.
Yeah, it's definitely. They got my man over there. They got our man's Mr. Dara.
Yes.
You know they brought him back. Who pulled through. You know what I mean? So I'm pulling for them that he's gonna give his influence and put things on the right direction as part of that core essence team. So I'm pulling for them.
All right. Well, that's what's going on with Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I imagine we'll learn more in the summer. Now we move on to Warner Bros. Discovery gaming head JB Perrette, who said this about their direction for the gaming division. Keep in mind, this is the company that just published Suicide Squad, but also the year before published Hogwarts Legacy. And we know the varying degrees of success those games had. Quote, rather than just launching a one-and-done console game, how do we develop a game around, for example, a Hogwarts Legacy or Harry Potter that is a live service where people can live and work and build and play in that world on an ongoing basis, end quote. Sean Mason writes in, greetings, Dukes. The news that WB will be shifting toward prioritizing live service games over single-player experiences has me questioning why, given the apparent commercial disappointment of Suicide Squad with notably low active player counts on Steam compared to other underperforming titles. It's perplexing. WB has a track record of both critical and commercial success with their single-player focused games. Considering Suicide Squad's likely lackluster financial performance, the rationale behind this strategic change is unclear. Thoughts? Best, Sean M. Thank you, Sean, for writing in. So yeah, we have this company that just launched the biggest game of last year, not literally player count, like sales-wise, the biggest game of last year that was a one-and-done console game. And then this year launched one of the biggest flops we'll probably see in 2024. And they think the direction is live service. Cog, you have more of a level head than I, so I want to hear from you first. What do you make of this, what I think is a very disappointing decision by WB?
Surprising. It really is. And this is coming from the live service guy.
Yeah, wearing the Destiny shirt, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to remember what happened and how profound Hogwarts Legacy success truly was. Like, this was the #1 game in sales beating Call of Duty, beating the heavy as a single player game. So it goes to show you that with the right IP and a lot of WB, the strength of WB is they have IP. They have this amazing catalog of movies and heroes and all these things that they could leverage. And then you put out a high quality product with what you call Hogwarts Legacy. You give it the reference, you give it the fan service, and it's a single player, one and done game, and it gets the love that it deserves. So to me, you have the blueprint, right? Like you're known for also having one of the goated Batman games of all time, and I get it, corporate cog. I get it. I listen to those meetings and I see they see the engagements of the Fortnites. They see they want a piece, right? But my thing is, how many failures you're going to have before you start to realize, you need to course correct back to your strength. You have to realize what your strength is. And I think sometimes a lot of these developers, or sometimes they get put under pressure by the publisher. So sometimes the developer might not even be in agreement with this, right? Yeah. And sometimes we learn these stories of development, how the game scope and ideas change multiple times based on the trends. I've heard stories of Halo Infinite going to be a tactical game at one point when Rainbow Six was popping. You see what I'm saying? Like I've heard these stories in development where there were major shifts based on the current trends in the industry. And my thing is Hogwarts Legacy should show you, do what you do best. That's why I love the Black Rock and Obsidian. When they were getting there talking about the games that they want to make and the Valve and all this stuff, they said, you know what? Bethesda and those guys, that's what they do. But we are the hub world, immersive story, rich timeline. Like they got back to their essence. I think companies really need to do that because that's why we fell in love with them. Not saying that you can't make one at all, a live service. But I mean, until the numbers come back on Suicide Squad, I would assume it didn't perform the way they
already said it underperformed. It was disappointing. Okay. So it's already not tracking well. The Steam player count showed that much, but please continue.
No. Thank you for giving me the updates on that. And it's just unfortunate because I know people who truly, I know people in that building that are very passionate, that don't like the direction that this own company's going. And I know the fans that are like, bro, we didn't want this. Yeah. We just wanted Arkham, like, you know what I'm saying? So your thoughts, because I know you're very passionate about this one.
It's just stupid. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, I'm done being nice about these really fucking dumb decisions. Like, it's a stupid choice. Not because I'm this single player purist. It's like, it just is a decision that reeks of it wasn't enough. Like, you had 20 plus million sales on Hogwarts Legacy, and there is no doubt in my mind that some exec looked at that and said, okay, and now if we made that live service, it's like, but you're not going to make that much in a live service. There's tons of Harry Potter mobile games. That's the shit that people didn't want because they wanted a traditional Harry Potter game because they've been spoon-fed everything but that. It's the same thing. It's a weird comparison, but with like Avatar: The Last Airbender, you get the live action adaptation. You get this shitty Quest for Balance game. You get mobile games. It's like everyone just wants a traditional console AAA Avatar game. Same with TMNT fans, something we talked about more here. You get your spin-offs, you get your kids games, you get Game Mill fucking it up. All we want is a AAA console game, and we'll buy it. And I know it's not always that easy to comprehend, but how do you not start thinking more on that lines? Like, we watched EA just convert their soul over one game that sold half as much as what Hogwarts Legacy, actually less than half.
Good point.
And we're watching WB go, Hogwarts Legacy. By the way, you have good live service. You had fucking multiverses, dude.
Yes.
But you're looking at Hogleg and you're going like, man, what if we made that? Like, what if those 20 million players were still here spending money? Like, how did you convince yourself that would be the case? Did you not look at the player charts dipping off after? Like, how have you convinced yourself that this reality is probably going to work out for you? That like, oh man, Suicide Squad, that sucked. But these Harry Potter fans, they're going to fucking eat this up and we're going to make this lot. It's like, you don't know your audience. You should not be calling the shots. Like, it's a dumb decision, whether you're a purist or not. You could be a live service head. And I think you know that from just financially speaking, and you look at their success ratio, this is a dumb decision. and it should be treated as such. And I hope they walk it back because it makes no sense. And my worry is with Monolith's game. I want Wonder Woman to come out and not be touched by any monetization, although I'm not holding my breath after they did the monetization of Shadow of War. But I want it to be untouched. Just release a good single player DC video game. You know, be the first to do that, since your own other company in Rocksteady did that with Arkham Knight in almost a decade ago. So come on now, read the fucking room. It's pathetic, man.
I honestly think, if I had to guess, it's that internal struggle, right?
100%. Yeah.
The publisher and the non-gamer sensibilities of these corporate guys who look at that revenue, they look at that profit, and they like, why aren't we making that? Right. Yeah. And then they filter down. And unfortunately, they got to have failures for them to get the hard slap on the wrist to say the community has spoken. No.
Yeah. So, but how do they not speak in the other way, right? Like, how do they not speak by saying, like, oh, this did really well, this is what they want?
You're right.
Do Hogwarts Legacy too, which I think they'll do. But
and to your point, it is unacceptable because now you're just showing greed.
Exactly. Right.
Like, you literally have the biggest game of the year that didn't really conform to any live service standard and had a controversy around it. And you still succeeded, right? You dominated, but you want to go this other lane, do what you do. Like, I don't get it. I am surprised by this.
Absolutely. So that's what's happening with WB. Cog, it's time for a little more positivity in our life. Let's talk about what games we are playing. Sir, you're up first.
So being we on the subject of exclusives and platform identity, and I've been on PlayStation playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Might as well talk about the elephant in the room. Shout out to Gene Park, member LSM. Looks like there was an article that came out today in reference to, Square talking about the benefits of the first two games being exclusive to PlayStation. And articles went out. We even put that out on whatsgaming.net, and then we updated the article because Gene wanted to clarify that the trilogy, even though it's not officially confirmed yet, so he didn't want to go out on a limb on that. But this is one of my favorite games of all time. I can't wait as to when it is. And being a Destiny fan, let me give y'all some history. Generally how I see these things, like, I firmly still believe that Final Fantasy VII trilogy will come to Xbox at some point. The problem is what Sony tends to do is they tend to make extremely strategic, what I call very smart decisions with third-party exclusivity that gives that brand identity like it's exclusive to the platform, or either with marketing. And we saw that even with Hogwarts Legacy, which wasn't an exclusive, right? That it made it feel like it. So yeah, I just wanted to, because this is breaking news, so I had to include it before I talk about it. But so salute to that. I know Xbox fans are a little upset about it. You will get it. If I had to guess, it's probably going to get it when the whole thing's done and it's out of a zeitgeist, probably a year later. And as a Destiny fan, that's what happened to us when they had exclusive maps, content, all this stuff, and then it all came to Xbox. And then here comes Destiny 2 with the new job. So at that point, it's irrelevant. And Sony, they're experts at this. I've had Hogue Law on there. I'll talk about these deals and what they do. So this is what they do. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying they pay for it. That's what it is. But as far as the game itself, I'm having a blast. They're really being aggressive with this new storyline. From the minute you boot up this game, they are letting you know we are taking a very aggressive approach with characters and Zack and things that may not or have been in the original, right? So you got that. I'm not like super far in it, but I will say I was worried about the open world aspect. And I have to admit, like, I talked about this a little bit on Summon Time with Brad and Dustin. At first I was worried, like, because I was like, man, I kind of want Final Fantasy just to be a hub where I don't know. And I have to admit, like, it is, my OCD makes me do this stuff because one, traveling around this world and the chocobos and all that, it's fun. The quests are really cool. They're rewarding. That's what I also like. And then they added new ways, how to get summons and lessen the battle stuff. So look, highly recommend it. If you're an Xbox guy, you don't want to wait. I get it. If you hold in line and you waiting, fair enough. You know what I'm saying? But you may have to wait a while. That's all. I'm just being honest on that. But I'm really enjoying it. I really am. And I will say the last thing I'll say about it, I didn't like that they try to force Queen's blood on me at first.
Oh, okay.
At first.
Go ahead.
I'm like, come on, let me just plot one. Go to the store. I want to know what they're doing. And then the competitive in me, when I had to go to every town and I got to beat every Queen's Blood player. And now I understand map control and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I got it now. Don't let them take over the map. And then the late game cards that could come and really dominate and stuff like that. So that part's cool. And I will say performance mode is the way I'm going right now. I know a lot of people say it's blurry, but on my OLED with VRR, it doesn't seem as bad. But I know they're coming out with a patch. But so far, so good. You know, I'm been rocking maybe about 20 hours in. And I'm kind of hitting all the little things before I go to the next level. And the boss battles, the music, great. So that's that. The second is a bit of a throwback. Got a soft spot for my baby. I'm seeing signs of life. I'm seeing signs of life in Destiny 2.
Let's hear about it.
I'm seeing signs of life. And I don't want to get too crazy. I'm not going to say, oh, yo, it's back, boys. We're here. They did it. They learned. Look, there's still a lot of things that they have to do. But remember I told you last week, the first signs I saw was the dedicated PvP engagement, community, maps, changing the meta where there's more, it's going to be reliant on gunplay and less abilities, right? Making the necessary changes in the nerfs. Fantastic. I played Punch Crucible, great. But I got to get to the core now. Now two of my favorite events in Destiny throughout the year. One is called The Dawning. It's kind of like a New Year celebration. That's always one of my favorite. You give gifts to people in the tower. It's just like festive BS. It's, you know, cute. Just whatever. But this Guardian games, we've always wanted because the infighting in the community is like, yo, Warlocks is the best, bro. Nah, Titans are the best, bro. Hunters are the best. It's always been this infighting with us. So they created like an Olympic event where it's right. But the cool thing now is they really made it more competitive where you could play class by class. So we do PvP, it's Warlocks versus Titans. And the scores around at the end. Like it's a team of all Warlocks versus a team of all, you know what I'm saying, Titans. They changed the matchmaking for that stuff. In the PvE events, they'll match and put one of each, and then at the end, who's got the most. And this is a daily community tally. Then you get on stage, you get these Olympic medals. The rewards are great, but here's where they changed the game. Now, the rumor is, because Lightfall was such a disaster. Remember, Lightfall messed this game up. Remember, they had Witch Queen, they were high. Lightfall came. A lot of people feel this was supposed to be part of Final Shape, but it was cut out and put in this expansion and not done well. One of the newer characters and NPCs were these guys called Cloud Striders. They're like these very tall Silver Hawk, Silver Surfer kind of guys with these hoverboards. Bro, they added hoverboards to Destiny.
Uh-oh.
Maddie, this is the thing I did not know I needed. Bro, this is like some Tony Hawk. I'm Silver Surfer.
Tony Hawk.
Bro, go to my timeline. Look at my last couple of tweets. Look at the one Tom Warren did it better than me. Shout out to Tom Warren because he's a Destiny guy like me. Shout out to I retweeted Tom Warren. Don't even look at mine. Look at Tom Warren's.
All right, let's look at Tom Warren.
Just look at it right now. Bro, tell me you don't want to play that.
All right, let's see here.
Check him out. Check him moving and grooving. Check what he's doing. And this is all implemented in the current sandbox. I don't know how they did this. This right here. Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Bro.
I'm watching him do kickflips. I'm like,
kickflips. Bro, I'm never using a regular Sparrow ever again. This right here. Yeah, bro. Thank you. I was like, oh, Destiny's back for me. For me? And the weapon pools are great. This, you could tell this is all the content that they probably had on the floor that they couldn't pack in. And that's why they split it up. Bro, thank you. People were hitting me like, yo, I ain't even going front. And get what? Batty. Free 99.
Free? Oh.
Just jump in. All you got to do is start.
They're in recovery mode for sure.
Let me tell you how bad it is. Look, you want a bigger laugh?
Yeah.
It's so they giving this for free. Then they say, because part of Guardian games is the competitive thing, getting gold medals and all this. If you want platinum medals, just follow your favorite Destiny Twitch streamer and link your account to get platinum. Bro, you know what they're doing for the engagement. Destiny numbers are kind of low.
Yeah.
Wow. I ain't even mad, bro. I got the Destiny shirt. I'm hoping. I'm not saying it's going to happen, guys. I've been hurt before, but one thing I know, being a Destiny and a Bungie fan, remember I told you, they're the kid who historically, right, when their back is to the wall and it's all over, they come out fight. I feel they got a shot to turn it around. They got a shot. It's still a long one because they really messed up. They laid people off. They did a bunch of bad things. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But I like what the current direction of the game is going, and hopefully this is getting them ready for final shape. So I've been playing a ton of Destiny, bro. Like I ain't gonna front. It's been a blast. So that's that. And then of course, that game we do, you know what I'm saying? Defining Tekken.
Yes, sir.
Weekly podcast. Bro, I'm becoming a savage.
Oh, let's hear. What's the weekly update for me?
All right. So basically what we do is we try to do a weekly dojo session with the homies, right? And when everybody's away, we're practicing our heart out. We're taking their goals for doing that. We're going rank. You can tell dudes are practicing because when you get in the player match, you see that they've been playing ranked and they got all these titles now.
Prowess goes up.
The prowess is mad points. They got plus on their joint.
Yeah.
They got the cool name with the logo. So we get back in the dojo. So, I tried to debut a new character. I've been messing with Raven a little bit because I need a third.
I knew that was such a COD character. I was surprised to see. Okay, go ahead.
I never played him before because generally me and the homies, like, it is very hardcore with our Tekken. Like, we make King hates this. We do this. We do self-inflicted rules. Like, if you play KOTOR, no one is allowed to play KOTOR because that is your character. And we go, nope, that's Maddie. We want to see different matchups.
Yeah.
Right? So we be like, okay, this year, who you running with? What's your 3? So everybody knows no one ain't touching Harang and no one ain't, and Lee is in there. Those 2 is always, right? But Lee was never strong enough until this Tekken to be my number 2. So he'd be like, Harang, I got this. You don't even got to come outside. We got this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where Lee's, So I needed a third because my real third is the UFC guy. His name is Craig Mardock, but he's not out yet. He's the big, tall wrestler, volley tudo fighter.
Yeah.
He'll do grapples. That's my dude. And I'm real aggressive with it. And I'll make some really prison dirty suits to get you uncomfortable because he's all about laying on you. So I want to make you mad. I want to get you upset. I want to be like, yeah, come in. I'm real extra with it when I get there. So they hate me. They be like, Cog, I hate that. Why you make that suit? Why you doing all this foolishness? And you talking? Because basically Harang is when I get to be pretty and show taekwondo and show the flamingos and the fates and martial arts. Sometimes I just want to rough you up and get you to the and that's what Bart, he gets that sensibility out of me. But I don't have him right now. So I'm like, I need a third. I'm flirting like martial law, Bruce Lee, no doubt, but he's a little similar to Lee in some ways. And I'm like, I want a stylistic change. So everybody, my man was like, bro, you like ninjas. You're the gaming ninja. Like, why are you not even trying Raven? I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I took him in the dojo. He was holding his own. Only like a week of practice. He was very confused. A lot of good mix-ups, a lot of disappearing into things. One of the craziest heat moves.
Oh, bro, you got range.
Yeah, like you can catch someone down the block if they slipping. Like he's beating you up and you don't know what's happening. Like I remember fighting against Raven players and I'm like, what is happening to me? Why am I getting costed by mad ninja shadow clones? Like what's so that I'm learning them now. Like it's gonna take time, but the more the end of the story is like, okay, we're doing a rank, we're doing it. So, he was holding his own, but, a lot of my senior guys shot the Kaibots. They finally, they brought their number ones out. They brought their Jin Katamas out. They's kind of beating them up a little bit. Oh, he's so good.
I'll talk about him later. Go ahead.
We'll talk about him. So then Lee come out. Lee does his thing. When I brought Harang out, Harang said, I got this, y'all. And then he was like, I'm a 10 streak the whole crew. We got a rule that whenever someone wins 5, because it is demoralizing. If someone's they're on that hot streak, we got a rule that if you win 5 in a row in player match, we kick you out of the thing, and you both 2 new people got to fight.
Yeah,
just to make it fair, because everybody's like,
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I don't do this all the time. My boy Kaibatsu is a beast with Jin. He's a beast with what's the dude? Dragunov. Oh my God, his Dragunov is oppressive. His Dean is oppressive. But I just got into a hot streak. Right now, my Harang, I'm not gonna get gassed as unbeatable. I can still work on some things, but he's in a good place. And I'm fast. So yeah. So that was this week's update. Obviously we know Eddie Gordo's coming. We're just waiting on that. And a lot of people people's doing all that talking about the Tekken shop. When I'm fighting them, I'm seeing all these $4 suits on. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of these $4 merchandise that I'm fighting against. So it didn't seem to hurt Namco that much. But that's pretty much been it for me this week.
All right. For me, this has been a really fun week. One of my most anticipated games I'm not kidding, the last half decade came out. Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fusion World. Now, long time deep cut Mr. Matty viewers will know of two things. Number one, on my Patreon, when I did more random exclusive videos before I started to like pre-upload content and I'll release that later, I did a video about the Dragon Ball Super Card Game that only like 20 or 30 people saw at that time because the Patreon was really small. And it was just showing off my card collection and why I love the game. And it was just 30 minutes of me just talking gibberish pretty much. Then there was also the Ham Radio podcast where when it was just Carrick and I, for people who listened during that era, I talked about DBS a ton. And in particular, there was one week we had a guest on who Carrick was friends with him and said he loved DBS. And we spent 40 minutes just talking about this game while Carrick just sat there like this the whole time. He was so pissed. You could tell. He was just like,
he's like, what did I do? Bring these two together.
He was like, I want to go do something and I'm stuck here. This 2-hour show just turned into 3. Every podcaster's been there. I was doing it to Carrick that episode.
I've been there before.
And so people know for a while, because I love Dragon Ball Super, I've been begging for a digital client. 'Cause number one, I think the game is so good that I think if more people got to play it and they didn't have to buy packs and go to local shops and all that shit, they would be able to get into it more. But also, I just know this is like my live service game, but it was in real life. And so now it's out.
Over.
What happened though, and this is an even deeper cut that people won't understand, but I still got to explain anyway. So when I played Dragon Ball Super Card Game, it was just called that. Then when they announced the digital client, as I mentioned when I read my title of the game, it has Fusion World as like the subtitle. The one that I played in person is now called Dragon Ball Super Card Game Masters, which is like 20 sets deep. Where this one is set 1, Fusion World, much more simple, beginner friendly. And so I was definitely a little about that because Dragon Ball Super Card Game, like, dude, there are so many mechanics and it is amazing. There's evolving, fusing. It plays with everything you know about Dragon Ball in this really interactive way. It's about like building hand advantage, critical hits, double strikes. Like there's just so many different elements to this game, right? So I'm worried with Fusion World, we're going to numb all of that down. We're going to make something too beginner friendly. I'm a seasoned player, so I got to start from the beginning again. But I'm like, okay, this is what you've been waiting for. Like, let's not jump the gun here. So Bandai, by the way, this is not on like Steam or something. You got to like download the client through Bandai's own launcher, which I'm fine with. I think it's because they also do the Digimon card game and the One Piece card game. And so my guess is they're going to have all of these in the same launcher eventually. And that when these games are done being supported, they'll do like a console launch, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Has done. But anyway, Fusion World. Let's get into the actual game. Is it good? Yes. I love this game. It's not perfect, though. It's perfect for someone like me, though. I am not a whale, but this is a game I will spend money on. I always have to get every card in the set. Not like when it's digital, not so much so. I just need to build every deck I want. I now have a deck of every color. So I spent $100 to get there.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you bad with it. Okay. See, I love it when we all got our vice with is what we like.
This is mine. Dude, lately was sitting here
joke.
when I bought that pack. Dude, the watchful eyes as I was hitting that purchase button. I was looking over her shoulder. She's like, man. That's all I said. Look, I said, I have no vices in my life. Let me have this.
Let me have my drug, baby.
Yeah, I was like, this is it. This is it for me. I was like, once per set, I spend maybe $100 or so. I get what I need, and then I just play the game a lot. That's what I do every time. In fact, this is actually better for me because when I was playing it physically, I would go on like TCG Player, which you could buy like cards a la carte. I just want to try decks, so I was spending way more fucking money per set then. So this is technically better for me. That's how I'm going. This is better for me. But yeah, it is. They got the flow down. Dragon Ball has a lot of steps to it. Like you have a defense step, a combo step. You have all these little things that are happening in between. How do you read all the cards? Without getting into the minutia of it all, it works phenomenally. Like you right click a card, it brings up an enlarged version. You could read the effect of it. When an effect activates, it communicates it well to the player. They have enough strategic depth where each deck has their own feel. Like for those who are interested in this card game, I've been playing the Android 17 deck, which is more of like a ramp style because this game think of Magic the Gathering. It has energy. Like in Magic the Gathering, you put down land cards.
I'm looking at it now.
And so, yeah, you put down energy. You spend that energy on cards. There's a number on the top left of each card. That's how much it costs. And so I've been playing with the Android 17 deck, which is ramp. So it focuses on getting your energy ahead of your turn order. So like usually it's 1 energy per turn, but like with this deck, you can do like 2, sometimes 3 energy per turn and just ramp up big time. Like you'll have 10 energy at turn 6, which is sick.
This look kind of cool. I ain't gonna front.
It's fun, man.
If
like
I was a Dragon Ball guy, I would definitely be into this.
It's fun.
Cool.
That's the thing is I tell people, I'm like, even if you're not a Dragon Ball fan, you just like tactics. Like this is a really good game for that. But I've been playing that deck, and then I've been playing U7 Goku, which is more like aggro. Like I'm just putting bodies on the field. I'm negating all the cards' powers. I'm attacking their cards. Like I always have like 4 or 5 cards on field. The opponent has none. Like that's when I know I'm rolling. That's the thing. Every deck has like what I call like an engine. And when you get that engine going, there's no better feeling than this fucking game, bro. So good. So yeah, like I get that itch, like the Tekken itch. I'm just like, yeah, I could just like 1 round at DBS if I can. I have yet to neglect my work for it like I did with Tekken. I only did that once. But DBS definitely is calling my name today. And I'm like, no, I got to be responsible. I got this video. I got DD. I got the gym. Like, take care of yourself first, Maddie. And then, you know.
Oh, I know it's over for you because this is what got me with the Transformers games. Card game. The art style of these cards look fire.
Thank you for bringing that up. I wouldn't have brought it up otherwise. Because to me, it's such like a known factor.
That's the addictive quality. When you see your favorite characters and represented well with just beautiful art, and then obviously probably multiple versions and different. I get it.
Oh, they got SRs, they got SCRs. Like, bro,
I get it. Remember, I had a whole fake son for this. I had to get $1,000 whipped off on my account, and the rules and limitations over. And hey, my son went crazy, so we had to scold him for what
that's
he
still like
did.
one of my favorite stories you told me. I have yet to create a fake son over this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if in my 40s maybe I decide to, you know, have a kid.
Exactly.
But yeah, that game has been fantastic. I would love to hear from people in the community if they end up trying this out, what they think. More Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This has definitely been the neglected child of my family of games I've been playing, just because I love it, man. Anytime I play it, like I'm on chapter 11 now, bro. This story is so good.
It's cooking.
So, bro, there's this moment. I'll just say this to everyone. There's this moment at the end of chapter 9, like one of my favorite Final Fantasy moments. It is so
chapter 9
good. Yeah, end of chapter 9.
End of chapter 9. Okay.
Yeah, keep your eyes on it. Everyone will know when they see it. It's one of my favorite moments in all of Final Fantasy. Like they get these characters and they just are. I can't say anything else because I don't want to give any expectations, but they are doing some great stuff with the storytelling thus far. I'm really into it. I've been kind of taking my own pace, maybe, you know, because I'm addicted to some other games right now, but also like the reason I say it's kind of neglected now is I'm at the point in the game where I'm not tired of the open world, but I know if I try to do everything and play these other things I'm enjoying, I'm just never going to finish it in time. Yeah. So it's like, all right, I got to kind of like neglect some of the open world. Like, I'll hit some of you on the way, but like we're going. We're going right now.
Yeah, same thing. Because you got to get to the other area, you got to open things up, and you got to advance the story. Something because they want you to live in it. If you end up doing all this stuff, you know what I'm saying. To their credit, a lot of it is interesting and rewarding. But I get a great point.
Yeah, like I'll do the side quests, but the open world activities, like all the data points, I'm not doing all of them right now. Because the thing is, these zones get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like it's funny, the game gives you more and more as you keep going, which is awesome. It's just insane. I can't wrap my head around how they made this game in 4 years. Like even with the same team and everything, like what they did with this game is incredible and should be celebrated as much as Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion. Like it is on that level where it's like, how did you do this? Because it not only gives you so much, but like tons of mini games, tons of change ups, tons of zones that look different and feel different and operate different. Like every zone has its own chocobo. Like and like some can fly. Like it's fucking crazy, dude. How did you do this in 4 years? It's unheard of. It's a game like double the size of Remake. Double.
Yeah. In some areas, not to cut you, but some areas from the original game, they've made into whole areas that wasn't even the scope of the original game. Yeah. And they added new systems with the, I call it like the Infinite Wealth system, where it's like, you know, Infinite Wealth has the drink links where you can, you know, with your party, you bond, but they got things where they'll ask you on the spot and then you have to make a decision.
Oh, yeah.
And then that'll affect, you know what I'm saying, the relationship and stuff, you know, kind of thing. They've added little things. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's incredible. The game is amazing. It's definitely one of my favorite of the year. I'm not tapering off in interest, but it's more like at the same time, these two games that I've been waiting forever for, and the other that is like one I knew I was excited for, but I didn't know how much I'd love it until I really got my hands on it. It's been tough to balance it all, but I think I'm doing a good job. Like the fact that I got almost like 50 hours in Rebirth, and I'm looking at like Fusion World, and I'm putting good time in that. Like I'm balancing it well. Just, bro, I saw those Dragon's Dogma previews, and like I wasn't gonna skip, but like now I'm like, it was like one of those moments where I went, I gotta dial in. Like I gotta start wrapping some stuff up. I gotta start organizing aside. Like I got this stack of games here for like retro rebounds. I just sat down. I recorded a bunch last night. I was like, I need to get my ducks in a row. Like I need to start organizing because I'm also going away for 2 weekends, and like I need to start game planning. Yeah, like I gotta start really cracking down. So Rebirth, I'm going to try my best to focus on it and finish it within the next week if I can. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see how it wraps up. To me, it's really to keep it out of my game of the year conversation and like a top 5 would just be like how it ends, because it's so story dependent for me right now. Like the game is extremely fun, very Kingdom Hearts 2-esque, where even if I don't like the story, which I do in Kingdom Hearts 2 for the record, but even if I didn't like it, it's just so fun to play. Every character is amazing that I know I'm going to love this game a lot. It'll definitely be in my top 10, but top 5, if that story ends at a place I really like, then it's probably going to be stuck there all year.
Yeah, definitely a contender for sure. We just got to see how they close it out.
And then last game I'm playing, let's talk a little bit more about Tekken. We got Kickstand writing in, so you know it's not just us, saying, Duke's just writing in to compliment your stellar taste in recognizing Tekken 8 as an undeniable title. As one of the Tekken 8 evangelists in the LSM Discord, it's good to hear this drug is so strong it even hooked our hosts who have incentives to move on to the next game. It's the game of the year for me and will be hard to knock off at 100 hours logged already. Good news is now if Xbox did go away, DD could just be a Tekken cast. Having just one more match on a weeknight at 2 a.m. when you're meeting with your boss at 8 kind of day. Yeah, Tekken is a game that I just warn our audience, like, you got to be careful when you pick this up, because if you get into it, you're going to make some bad choices at first. I have good Tekken restraint now. Like last night, Cog, I picked it up, played for 2 hours. I went, that's enough. And I moved on. And I started recording some gameplay for Retro Rebound. I was like, okay, good job, Matt. Good job. You did it, man. So this latest step in my Tekken journey, right? I've talked about how I'm on the road to the second main, right? Like I need Claudio Serafino's bodyguard. Yes. At first I thought it might be Lars Alexanderson, but as I mentioned last week, you know, he's really good. But I think number one, once you start to learn his lightning rush or whatever it's called, a little bit easier to read. And also some of his combos are just way too annoying to pull off. Like I don't like combos that demand a ton of double button presses. So
what are we doing?
I think you'll be surprised with who I landed on, Cog, that is stuck mighty well and perhaps may even surpass Claudio at this rate.
Whoa, easy.
Now, my love. I love Claudio.
Wow, this is big. Who's this?
Yoshimitsu. Post nerf, by the way.
Post nerf Yoshi too. Nerf. That's impressive.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I love his mix-ups. Like his game is strong in that department. He's got so many things you can do, and a lot of them gimmicks. But I just think he's got a lot going on in his kit. Bro, I did this combo on my friend last night that got an audible, like I screeched like a girl when I hit it, because I was like, yo, did I just do that? I knocked him up. Like I already had a kind of bread and butter combo, like knock him up. I think I hit him for like 70 damage. Like if I catch you with this, like I'm hurting your health bar.
70 is a lot. Damn.
Yeah.
I don't even got a 71. Damn.
Oh, bro, you gotta add. You gotta add, right? Because what I've learned when I watch some of these combo videos online is like you get these nice like little jabs in the air and they all like add up. And so with Yoshi though, it's not even that. It's just a bunch of like 1-2 combinations in a row. So I did this like knock up on him. You go into the Manji Dragonfly, you do another combo, hit him again. Then he does the tornado where he flips in the air. You're like, now I got you, right? And so I slashed him twice and he wall splats, right? And so I didn't know this was part of the combo. I was like, I'm just going to run at him and hit him again. So I sprint. I want to say it was a sprint triangle. And Yoshi does this thing, bro, where I take out the sword and I cut through the opponent, and then the camera angle shifts, and then he like tucks the sword, and you see an explosion. And bro, I think I had to have hit close to 80 damage on him. And my friend, this is his first Tekken, by the way, I was like,
oh man,
damn, I'm crushing confidence out here.
You taking that boy's soul.
Yeah, it'd be rough when a new dude try to come into rotation and he getting comboed up and get picked apart.
What's fun because like he's been playing for a good couple of weeks now, so it's not like he's new and like he wants to get better. He's putting time in the lab, but he's playing Asuka, man, and like. You know, like when you're playing against like my friend's a Jin main, and before that he was Reina main, so like he's just rolling all over the stage, and like he's filthy, like he is tough to beat. And then I would say I'm next in the pecking order, and so like he's got tough competition for sure, but like you're playing pretty meta characters, and then you're playing Asuka, and I tried to tell him like, bro, like let her go, she's not good.
If he likes her, why is he not taking June? Jun Kasami is like the OP version, the OG.
Yeah.
Way better, in my opinion.
Yeah, June, Xiao Yu. Like,
Xiao Yu, yeah, she's also.
Yeah, like I've tried to pick select. Like the reason I went back to Yoshi is I was playing as him. He got nerfed. And I was like, you know what? Don't let the nerf. I'm not like going to be a Tekken pro. I was like, but don't let the nerf change. Like he's still got a good kid.
Yeah, dudes be overactive.
Like, you know, exactly. Like, oh, the Flash got nerfed, but that doesn't make him good. Like he's still great even without.
It's crazy. I've been fighting Yoshimitsu players when I fight her rank. They always give me a problem. They always, it's very competitive. I don't always steamroll them, and there's times that they get me. So Yoshi
like they're tricky, right? And that's the point. I think that's half the battle with Tekken is like as long as you have enough moves to be unpredictable. Like I got this one, I think it's up triangle, just jumps up in the air and then just slashes low, and I'm like, that's. Unless you face me a lot, that's a tough read. And even if
it's a tough read.
And if I keep it in the back pocket and you face me a lot, I still hit everyone with it because it's like it's just hanging around there and they're looking for everything else and up in the air and they're like, oh, it's a high attack and I hit them low. Boom. That's it.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's been really nice finding a main that is not Claudio because my fear, man, is like just watching how the roster's being hit. I'm like, Eddie Gordo is DLC. That's kind of crazy, right? And I'm like, you know, what happens if like my character isn't there next game? Like, you know, I'm like almost Tekken existentialism where I'm like, I need to get a couple of you under my belt because one of you is going to be in this game. And I know I would find a main anyway, but like, I'll just say this, man.
Let's go.
No one hits like Claudio for me. Like that, like I'd say Yoshi and him are like this, but Claudio's style, his accent, his appearance, the when he goes starburst and his eye turns dark. This dude's just all Maddie. It's like this man has to be in every Tekken game for me personally.
He's got a swag to him, a style. And then you got the mystical thing. He's fly individual. I like the whole vibe.
The Italian part is like it's just that's what I love about Tekken. Like their whole roster is so diverse. And it's like, bro, I'm playing as an Italian alchemist. Like that's so good.
What's great about Tekken is they all speak in their native language to each other.
Yeah,
that is funny to me, and they understand each other.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
I get you, bro. Shout out to Claude. I like that. Yoshi's in the dough. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start labbing. That's the thing. I'm a big feel guy, as in when it comes to Tekken, like I got to pick up a character and I got to literally just button mash. And if I'm like liking what I'm seeing coming out, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's take it the next step. Let's go in the lab. So you remember a couple combinations, just a high, low, high, those types of things, right? And it's like, okay, that's working. And like I'm stringing together some stuff and then on to the next level. And yeah, I just have Yoshi was that character that for the like it was like finally someone clicked. Like, bro, I was doing an insane roster tour. Like I had hit everyone. I was starting to lose hope. I was like, man, I'm just a Claudio one trick, but Yoshi came in clutch. So
Yoshi came through. That's what's up. I like that.
All right, Cog. That's what we're playing this week. And now we get to talk about one warm-up question and we get into the news, which is a pretty busy one this week, might I add. We're going to talk about Toys for Bob. We're going to talk about the partner preview. We're going to talk about what's coming to Game Pass. So a lot on the docket here. First, a question from Daniel J. Greetings, Dukes. Am I overthinking the current state of Fallout? The Amazon TV show is releasing in just about a month, which I'm cautiously excited for. We still have no word yet on the Fallout 4 Next Gen updates release and the leaked Fallout 3 remaster. They just announced not too long ago a re-release of their mini nuke-themed anthology collection. I'm starting to wonder if this is as good as it gets for a while. It's crazy to me that Gravity Rush 2 is rumored to be seeing a remaster soon before the upcoming movie, but Fallout is missing its time to capitalize on the games that the show will draw so heavily from. I know Bethesda is probably hard at work with Starfield's post-launch, but I can't imagine throwing a little bit of effort, a little bit of Fallout content before the big show on Prime wouldn't be worth the time and effort. Would love to hear you guys take. Keep up the great work and have a still chugging through the original Final Fantasy VII for the first time while everyone's hyping up Rebirth. kind of day. Daniel, you're making the right choice. Stay strong. It is worth it. So yeah, Cog, I think we'll see a Fallout TV show trailer this week for sure. Probably by the time our this episode goes live, I think it'll be out. That's my guess, just based on like we're a month out. Like you got to show something before the month's out. So I'm thinking it's going to be this week. But Cog, when you look at the state of Fallout, what's being announced? We just talked about the controller earlier, the mini nuke anthology, which is like a whole digital collection of the games in a mini nuke. I have it across my room, but it's got the discs with it. So they're doing all of these collectible things. They reactivated the Jones Soda collaboration. Mm-hmm. They're doing everything. No games. Do you think they announce a game? Do you think it's just the Fallout 4 Next Gen update? Do you think they do nothing and let the show do its thing? What do you think happens here?
Oh, sorry. You've got to have that.
I didn't know you were muted. That's so funny. I don't know if you saw me reach. I usually sometimes have a USB plugged into my computer. And so I thought like, oh, my headset's cutting out.
No, you good.
Yeah, I was like, there's part of me that's like, man, you got to have a Fallout 4 remaster ready. Like,
yeah, that's going to happen. But,
so I would assume that it's got to be within proximity. You know what I'm saying, of when the show comes out or during in the middle. Like that's just something that is just a number one cash grab to do. So yeah, I gotta think that it's already in the works. Because my thing is this, the controller to me is like the giveaway. Mm-hmm. You put the control out there, you're bringing awareness. Look, I get it, they do controls all the time, but like I would be hard pressed that either the game's not ready, or 2, they don't want to take advantage of this window. I would be hard pressed to see what's the reasoning as to why not, right? Mm-hmm. That's my thing here. So I would have to assume that, because what's our release date for the show? How quickly?
April 12th,
right?
April 12th.
No one else. Yeah, we still got time. So probably around that month they'll do a whole thing and then push that bad boy out. So that's usually good about that.
It's interesting. Like I agree with the sentiment. Like based on what we know, at least the Fallout 3 remaster is a thing. But the thing we know more of is that was planned pre-COVID, deeper in the Bethesda timeline, and that Oblivion Remake was supposed to be coming sooner. And Oblivion Remake's leaked not once but twice, and they've kind of coincided where it's like, okay, this is legit. And they said that it was supposed to be coming 24, 25. That seems like it's up first. So I don't know if you can announce the Fallout 3 remaster in time unless it's coming out this year. And the thing that would make more sense is releasing it like closer to the show. What I did track, I made a video about it. Fallout New Vegas was getting an update, it seems like, for this year. And that was likely due to the Fallout anthology. Yeah, because I was looking at some of the history of updates that some of Reddit had tracked down. And the last time, because like Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition was re-rated for PEGI. And I was like, oh boy. But turns out Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition was also rated for PEGI in 2015. And that was when the anthology first came out. So my guess is that this update will likely be done to just let the game run better on current PC hardware, because they're anticipating an influx of players. And like, that's their response to it. I agree with the mindset that if I'm running a business and I'm looking at Fallout as this lucrative IP and we know the show's cooking and we have this remaster, I feel like you accelerate that. Or if you have that new creations that's being done on Skyrim, like you accelerate that and have it come over to Fallout 4. Like, there's money on the table, man. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing. Maybe you think you're making money off the merch only, and perhaps that is the play. But yeah, I agree with what Daniel's writing in here, that when you see Gravity Rush 2 is potentially coming back because of that movie, which I don't know if have you checked out any of the shots of the Gravity Rush movie?
I have not. I've not seen it yet. It's crazy.
A little scary looking, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because like the Gravity Rush games 1 and 2 are great, and the style of them is phenomenal. But it looks to me live action, and I'm just like, who wants Gravity Rush live action? Like, that should be like an animated project, I feel.
It is kind of interesting there. What about the thought process that anthology is the game?
I don't think you're wrong. I don't. I just think it sucks because it's like, you already did that for Fallout 4. Is this like your answer again? Except this time there's no discs. It's just digital keys. I'm like,
yeah, which is special nuke
bomb collection thing.
Yeah, hold on. I got it over here.
Oh, you got it? I know you got it. I was like, you just gotta have it. Special cards.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, this is what I call the superior nuke, because this one actually has, if I take off the top here, let's take out Fallout 4, shall we? Right? Like, the game that we'll probably be playing. Yeah, dude, it comes with. Oh no, they got me frauding here. Where's the disc?
They got you frauding. He's in the system.
Hold on.
In the system.
Oh wait, no, you know why I got the disc? Because what I bought this was before Fallout 4 came out.
Okay.
All right, Fallout New Vegas.
All right, what we got? How's it
looking? Don't make me look like a fraud obsidian. Yeah. All right, hang on. Bang. Oh man, they got the games for Windows text on the top.
Wow, old school.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, they come with these discs inside these little slips, and I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this is probably what you want if you want to have the anthology. Like, you can go on Steam and buy the whole series for like $10.
Yeah, 7 award-winning games from the OG. I mean, I don't know, because I guess why I thought about it is that the anthology comes out a day before the TV series.
Yeah, you're probably right.
There's a part of me that's like, hey guys, this is what you wanted. Here you go. And according to the thing, you know, the internal leak, you know, we did know Oblivion was supposed to be ahead of the Fallout 3 remaster, but it's a shame, man, that the Fallout 3 remaster could not be. The order could not have been switched.
If you're Bethesda, I guess one way of looking at it is, I'm pretty sure this show, unless it's like a complete flop on an economic level, like I'm sure it'll get another season. And my guess is like, here's phase 1. You know, we got a ton of merch, put that out in the wild. Phase 2, when it's like, all right, we know what the Fallout TV show is. It isn't that big of a deal because we know what it exists. And just here's season 2. It's like, yeah, but like, here's Fallout 3 remastered. Don't you remember this, guys? Because imagine if season 2, I don't know what happens in season 1 yet, but what if season 2 goes to like the East Coast?
Ooh, yeah, it makes sense.
And it makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I get it. I think we answered our own question.
We're good at that, aren't we?
Yeah, we get it.
Number 1. Toys for Bob, developers behind Skylanders, Crash Bandicoot, and the recent Spyro remasters, are going independent as they leave Microsoft and Activision. Announced in a blog post on their website, they revealed that they are currently in the early stages of exploring a possible partnership with Microsoft. Sean Y, I think I featured you earlier in the show, but you're here again. Thank you for the write-in. Hey, Dukes, what are your thoughts on Toys for Bob separating itself from the broader Xbox organization? And should we expect more studios to break away, considering Xbox is clearly in cost control mode? If so, who do you think leaves next? We've seen a little bit of this, right? We saw, as we talked about at the top of the show, Saber leaving. You know, we have Embracer getting sold off. We saw Square Enix sell off part of its division. And so we're seeing more and more like the sports side of gaming come to life, like trade deals and selling off and, you know, eliminating costly, ill-advised contracts from your salary cap, right? So I look here at what's happening with Toys for Bob, and we'll get into Sean Y's question in a little bit, but I have to say I was a little surprised by this. I think this is good news, might I add, but I thought this was a little surprising because when I look at the talent that Xbox was seeking to acquire, no doubt you wanted to have your Call of Duties and everything like that. That was clearly important, but one weakness that Xbox was able to shore up through Toys for Bob was their ability to target a younger generation of gamers with the IP they make. And now, I mean, they're working in a partnership, so it may just be the same as it was before. But now them going independent, controlling their own future, that's really not Microsoft's fate to control anymore. And this felt like the answer. Remember when we heard about rumors of WB being for sale? And I was like, yeah, or the gaming division being for sale. I was like, well, for Xbox, it makes sense because you get like TT games, you get the Lego game, you get something that you have an answer to in your ecosystem now. Like having all the Lego games on Game Pass would be a huge boon for that service, as an example. So I thought Toys for Bob would produce that same effect, and I imagine they will, as they'll get the backlog of Crash and Spyro and all that stuff. But to see them go independent, I'm just talking from the Xbox side of things, but for this company alone, I think it's great. You keep them away from the Call of Duty workshop. You let them focus on what they do well, and Xbox can hopefully reap the benefits of their IP by staying in partnership with them. So what are your thoughts, Cog, on Toys for Bob going independent?
Definitely a surprise to me at first. This is a big
debate in the community because I did see, Attic was part of this as well. And I did see some pushback with people really disappointed. So I wanted to get more information on it. And now that I've gotten the dust is settled, this is how I kind of internalize it. Like I look at it as we have to be honest in terms of the ABK acquisition and the ramifications of acquiring this from Bobby Kotick and team, right? When you look at what those teams were doing, right? And from my understanding, Toys for Bob was kind of like Call of Duty Mobile, and the salt mines, as opposed to what we done before, right? They were kind of in that thing. And the reason why I bring this up, and I have my Destiny shirt, is like, you have to remember, like, I come from Destiny being owned under Activision. When Destiny was owned under Activision, High Moon Studios and Vicarious Visions were relegated to expansion-only content during the Bobby Kotick era, right? These are studios that made my beloved Transformers games, who have talent on their own, but were relegated to the salt mines, which is the money that Call of Duty produces. And when you have a franchise like that, and say what we want about Bobby, he did make that one of the biggest things by increasing their pipeline, but at the suffering of the individuality of these studios and what they're known to make. So I look at that and I say, okay, that's the first thing. Obviously, to your point, what you said earlier, when I first heard about the announcement, I'm like, when I first heard about Toys for Bob being part of the acquisition, I was like, this is dope. Xbox finally gets those style of games that they desperately need, that falls in that Nintendo kind of bag. Yeah. This is dope. They'll be in Game Pass. It gives Game Pass diversity. I was with it. So I understand the legit disappointment of a Toys for Bob not controlled by Xbox without funding. But I also got to be honest, too, with the realities of the business. And that's where corporate car comes in. When you spend $70 billion or whatever it is you spend, you look at what you bought. There's a reason why ABK was selling. And you got to look at what you bought and who wasn't producing. Good and if point. I had to guess, they looked at the numbers. And sadly, Toys for Bob is probably not profitable. And if I had to really guess, this is pure speculation, probably going to get shut down.
Yeah, because they went remote, right? Man, they
went remote. They was already rumbling before, right? Then it's like we've just been through the layoffs and the trimming of the fat. Mikey Barr didn't survive. Blizzard, like there's a ton of people that did not survive this. They're in cost-cutting mode and they need the ROI immediately. So if I had to guess, they were going to get shut down. There's a mutual conversation that's had by both parties. They still want to exist, right? How about we go independent? To me, it's a win-win because it's like I am always on the side of a studio not being shut down. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen as an old head like me who grew up on games that came from Midway, that grew up on games that came from Acclaim. Remember Midway? Remember that? Yeah. They don't exist. So my thing is if the core identity of Toys for Bob still wants to do what they want to do, and for the Xbox guys, it's like, yo, I'm mad. They still most likely, this is a mutual agreement. They most likely going to have a partnership. They'll have first right of refusal on some games, that kind of thing. Or you would think a Game Pass bag or some type of marketing, whatever they want to make. I'm going to also assume that Microsoft still controls the IPs of the Spirals and the Crashes and stuff like that. And if they want to do something there, great. But overall, I think this is probably the best move that could happen for both parties. And let's be honest, this is really corporate car. This is the ultimate PR win for Microsoft because you could say that you did not shut down this studio. we are in the era of all these studios being shut down right now. Yeah. So I think it served both parties. And my last point is you get to live to fight another day, Toys for Bob. You get to live to fight another. Hopefully, it's a hard market out there by yourself, but it looks like Microsoft is going to partner with you. It's still going to have some form of a relationship with you. And that's all you want. If it goes multi-platform, but at the same time, you may get a Game Pass bag up front. That's what these guys kind of want to survive. So, yeah, surprising at first, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I don't want them relegated to the salt mines. Those Call of Duty salt mines, bro. I mean, and last point, I got to give Cobra Commander this. He's always been said that because a lot of people were under the delusion that when you would get ABK, and I know that we're going to get the back compat. We're going to get that. We're going to get a whole treasure trove of library, right? But there was also the thought that some of these guys are going to be free from the salt mines and they're going to be able to produce their own stuff. And we may be getting the sobering reality that majority, I mean, ain't. And Toys for Bob's like, hey, we don't want to do that. Bobby didn't let us go. Please let us let us do what we want to do. So Phil comes down and, all right, you know what I'm saying? We'll work it out. We exchange your indentured servitude and we'll get you out of here. Like, to me, it's the ultimate PO. They freed the slaves. All right, that was a bad analogy. But I'm just saying, you get it from a creative standpoint. When you don't want to do, we all talk to these devs, Matty. We've had Josh Sawyer in that seat in the realm of the Dukes. He wanted to make Panamint. The worst thing is when you can't make what you want to make. Yeah. And you just get in there. Go do the Warzone. Yeah. Bobby wasn't playing. No. Yeah. So that's what I got with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right on the money there, and present a lot of fair points on how this probably could have gone worse if it's true that they were going to get shut down, which the writing was on the wall. You have all your studios shut or you go fully remote. You know, it's possible Xbox also didn't see much value in this company anymore with their new state. So this definitely feels like the best case scenario for where things were trending. I think for Xbox fans, if you're looking at this, Toys for Bob hopefully can be, and I know people don't like when I make these cross comparisons, but let me finish my thought. They can be like Insomniac. And by like Insomniac, I mean in the terms of the partnership. I'm just talking about the partnership. So what I mean by that is pre-acquisition Insomniac was largely focused on PlayStation, right? Like they were always doing PlayStation-oriented projects. And so them being acquired by PlayStation was just a very natural thing to have happen. It's why PlayStation got them for a song. Now with Toys for Bob, the reason I make that comparison is like, hopefully Xbox can keep that partnership and they can get their Spyros or Crashes or whatever the games may end up being. They can get all of that for their platform, whether it be exclusively or through Game Pass, whatever they end up finding value in. And so Toys for Bob is kind of working on their behalf, but independently, just as Insomniac was. And then it allows them to do what Insomniac did, which is go off and make random VR games. I have a couple next to me, like random Ratchet and Clank games into the Nexus I got next to me here. They also did, this is a real throwback here. I'm curious if anyone remembers this. This is a Full Frontal Assault.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like Insomniac has, you know, this really interesting history, and acquisition is good maybe for security to some extent, maybe a bit of a red herring as we're seeing more and more with the layoffs and the regulating of the industry. You know, we always think about financial stability and whatnot, but I look at like Insomniac as this example of like, okay, good, they're acquired by PlayStation. Like, you know, this means we're going to get a lot more of the stuff we enjoy. And then you see like we only get one Ratchet and Clank game in the next decade. And then you look at the two I showed you and there were just two of very many. And that sucks. So this allows Toys for Bob to kind of chase their own future, hopefully to the benefit of Xbox fans and Game Pass users alike. I think it will go that way. And it allows them to get out of the Call of Duty workshop, which is what we were hoping for. And if this is what it takes, then number one, it speaks to how dire that circumstance is. But also, you know, I'm wondering how you replace Toys for Bob if they were a big part of that Call of Duty workshop, what that's like. But nonetheless, Toys for Bob going independent. Any additional thoughts on this?
No, just again, I just want to see what they come up with. You know, obviously they have a unique flair to their titles. You know, obviously, I'm also curious about how the IPs that Microsoft holds on to, like a Crash. Because let's be honest, Microsoft was promoting Crash like it was theirs, right? You know, are they going to do something with these IPs? For the people who are against this, I do empathize with the status of these beloved IPs. Will they get worked on? We've heard rumblings of a Banjo being worked on, but what about Aspire? What about a Crash? What about things that they've worked on? Does that get any life to it? And, you know, are they, here's the other thing, which you made a good point about, you know, on the Salt Mines, you know, you could still get an extra bag for a support studio role here and there. Like, remember when Crystal D gets called in, you know, to get an extra little bag to help out on, you know, initiative product. So maybe they have a working relationship also that extends to maybe some support studio stuff, but they're just not, as far as Call of Duty, but they're not like beholden to it, and they can still do what they want to do, you know, kind of thing. So it's going to be on them, because that's to be true too. Like, independent ain't easy either. You know what I'm saying? So they got to be smart on how they move too. But I think it looks like they're going to get. Sounds like they're going to get a good deal that'll help them out.
Yeah, it's looking increasingly more and more like this is where the industry should go in a lot of cases, which is if you can handle and sustain being independent, you should stay that way. Because like I mentioned earlier, I'm starting to wonder if the being acquired, you have to live to fight another day, but your whole identity changes, right?
Well, that's the risk, right?
Would BioWare be making, we talked about them earlier, like would they be making all those live service games if they were not under EA? And I think EA gets scapegoated a lot, but I don't imagine it was BioWare's first idea after, what was it? Dragon Age Inquisition to be like, okay, let's go make a fucking live service Iron Man game now, right? Like, I don't know about that.
No, this is fair. And I think that's, as Lord Acquisition, right? That's the fair pushback as far as, studio identity, right? Knowing what you get into. We've talked about, ad nauseum, even with the Tencent stuff and who you deal with. And then also even with Xbox, like, are you going to be able to remain their identity? And I guess for me, I look at the examples of Obsidian and I look at the examples of like an InXile of people who say, hey, we did our due diligence before we signed with them. And we want to remain true to our cultural identity, our game development identity, that kind of thing. And I forgot, there's a second part to Sean White's question. If so, who you think leaves next? I guess the way listen, no one is absolved from this. I think it could happen to any studio, that they decide they want to, go independent. I think Microsoft would probably work with them to try to prevent, to help facilitate that if a studio wanted to do that. Yeah. If I had to guess, my gut keeps telling me that it's more the publisher acquired studios. Like, for example, like a studio that's underneath the ABK umbrella or underneath the Bethesda/ZeniMax umbrella, where they would, because remember, these companies were always used to being, for the majority, third party being, right? That's been kind of their essence. So if anything, or, I look at it like underperformers and people who were part of publishers. I guess I struggle to see, not saying it's impossible, but I struggle to see like a core Xbox game studio say, hey, like, for example, Ninja Theory Playground woke up and say, hey, we want to go into it. That would be a surprise to me. I was like, wow, okay, how does this work? What happens here, right? That kind of thing. So I'm not ringing the alarm yet, Sean. Why? I think this is more of the reality of ABK. You spend 70, Call of Duty is going to be part of this, and the sobering realities of hopes and dreams of every game being remade from this class. We have to be realistic also. And I think that's the sober reality. Some people are going to be disappointed with that, but at least Toys for Bob gets to do what they want to do, right? My thing is, High Moon, let them go and let them make Transformers if that's what they want to do. I'm just
slippery
saying.
slope if you're Xbox, right? If like word gets around, let's say like it is what we're talking about, like, hey, we don't want to do this, we're going to do that. And they're like, okay, go ahead. And High Moon's like, well, hold on. Hasbro said that the IP was up for grabs. Like, we could do another one of those. Why don't you let us do that? So, and that's where Xbox has to make some tough choices. So we'll see where it all goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Nonetheless, we're down one first party studio now.
Yeah, look, at last point, I always tell people this: we have to, in fairness to Xbox, we have to be real that the ship Bobby was running definitely has some holes and some craters in this situation, and on top of a social media and political internal disaster of what was going on. So Call of Duty was making money, but there's a reason you're selling. There's a reason, and that I think is now when you own something now, you look at the parts of the business that ain't really popping. So for now, I'm going to say this is ABK, but I'll keep my eyes open in fairness to everyone who says, hey, this may be a side cog. Remember we told you. And fair to you guys, I will keep my eyes open with the entirety of Xbox Game Studio to see if anything else transpires as a result of this.
All right. Well, for now, let's turn our attention to the Xbox Partner Preview. We're going to recap all that's there. 14 games shown off. Let's do a top-level view first. Lee is Cool Jenkins writes, "Sup, Dukes? What are the ratings for the Xbox Partner Preview? Did you like the no frills format, just trailers and some extra info from Xbox Wire, etc.? And does this lineup excite you? That last Berserker game looked dope to me. Have a Stalker Trilogy Shadow Dropped kinda day." So, Cog, what were your top level thoughts for this one? Did you enjoy the partner preview? Did it deliver for you in ways maybe you didn't expect?
Yeah, I liked it. My only negative was just that, man, it was short. I was like, 30 minutes flew quick. I was like, damn, because it was so bam, 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 bam. Oh, and apologies to the brother. I forgot. I got to give him a shout out because literally, bro, this is embarrassing. When the show's going on, I'm thinking the transition pieces, voice. I'm like, oh, Microsoft is finally using AI between. I didn't know that was a real person.
That's
So his
so
name,
good.
bro, shout out, I believe his name is Xavier Nelson. I apologize, my brother. You did. He let the secret out because I believe what you call it from Microsoft retweeted it. Tina Amini. She said, that he was the one responsible. So I thought that they had an AI voice doing the transit. I was like, oh, here we are, baby, Skynet, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And it was him. So let me get that out the way. So, but now all jokes aside, I thought it was I liked it. COG. They had a lot of COG games. They had games for me. You want me to just top level? Or we gonna break down each game?
Yeah, do top level, then we'll break down each game from there.
I have my standouts. I will say I just have to give the Path of the Goddess really, really showed out for me. If I had to just pick one as like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot here. We'll get into each one and I'll tell you what I liked, disliked, or whatever. Sure. But I thought it was cool. The format was cool. Get in, get out, knock stuff out. We'll get into each game in detail, but I liked it. I thought there was some nice, cool AA and indie additions to the already known 10 games that, well, for the most part, known 10 games that Xbox First Party and Xbox Game Studio is going to do. I felt these partners were like great supplements to the year. So for the most part, I felt really good, man. I like what I'm getting for the most part for this year.
Yeah, I have to say that I was pretty critical of the first partner preview because, this is in a slew of other showcase formats for Xbox. So you had Developer Direct, you have your summer showcase, you have the Game Awards that you typically appear at, you have the Gamescom dedicated show you do, you have I forgot what it was called, the indie show that they do as well. You have so many shows. Like, why are you making another? And a lot of Xbox fans naturally got like really upset with me. Like, I'm just hating and I just can't be happy with anything. And so going into this, not asking why, but just seeing what, I have to say what was shown here, number one, far better than the first partner preview. But a lot of these games are great looking. There's two in particular I'm very excited to talk about, which I didn't go in really expecting much of, but the general quality mark here was good. And I saw the pocket that this showcase kind of targets, like, okay, Developer Direct first party deep dive or like big exclusive deep dives at the least. And you get the special privilege of Square Enix because you need to get that mercenary bag. But otherwise, you need to find a spot that maybe wouldn't be big on the main stage, but like fills these AA's, these higher budget indies. And that's what this was, or like DLC for existing titles. And so we got a lot of really good stuff here. I have to say, pleasantly surprised. And then I will say that you spoke on the addition of a voice actor. Very Nintendo Direct like, when certain sections ended, they're like, check out the Xbox Wire for a post on this. I'm like, okay, like this is really interesting. Like your Developer Direct is your big thing, but this feels like a Direct almost now. So I guess 30 minutes was great for me. I thought it was a perfect length for what they were showing off. Nothing overstayed its welcome. Very snappy. If you want more info, go here kind of approach. And then it was over. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I have to say, really good.
Yeah, me too, man. I pleasant surprise. It didn't come in expecting crazy, but I was like, oh, I got a few games here that I'm very interested in.
100%. So let's talk about some of those.
Let's get it.
We're going to go in order with everything shown off. First was from Bandai, Unknown 9 Awakening. Summer 2024 is when this one is coming out. For those who don't recognize any of these names, I'll try to give like as solid of a gameplay description as I can. This was the game that you saw a female protagonist, and she had almost Dishonored-like abilities where she was controlling other characters within the level and reorienting their attacks to blow up a set of barrels or shoot a friend or melee attack someone. And I gotta say, I thought this one looked really solid. I was, at first I was like, okay, like the setting looks cool. face capture, not really quite there, but I'm not a huge critic of that nowadays. I'm like, I can live with this if the rest of the game is solid. But the gameplay, I brought up Dishonored earlier. Dishonored's the king of that sandbox, take control of your enemies type approach, specifically the first one. And when I saw that and I thought of Dishonored right away, I went, oh boy. Okay, so we got something cooking here. So I thought Unknown 9 Awakening looked really solid. What did you think about it?
Same, you nailed it. And, I saw the stealth aspects. I looking at it, replaying the video right now. A little spiritual, a little supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Indian setting. I like, it's in setting with the female protagonist. It gave me some cultural vibes that I didn't realize I needed on this one. But gameplay wise, for me, is when she starts doing the quantum break, like the bullets start flying on her. It's like, nope, you ain't doing that to me. Yeah. Kind of energy. And
that's cool.
Yeah, AA, high-end AA energy to me, but I like the vibe. I like the premise. So yeah, nice little surprise for this one. Got my eye on it.
Next up was Sleight of Hand. This was revealed with the CG trailer. It's coming in 2025. It is going to be arriving on Game Pass. The general idea of the game was it was a third... Actually, let me grab the description of it because I think I won't be able to do it justice here. But this one is described as a third-person card-slinging occult noir stealth sim. And those last two words speak to the Maddie sensibilities especially. We don't have enough stealth sims nowadays at all. So I was pleased to see that alone, even if it was just a little CG trailer. I'm interested because we're making a stealth sim here. It's coming to Game Pass in 2025. So I was excited by that alone. But nonetheless, I would love to see more gameplay. It looked like this woman named Lady Luck could maneuver through the environment. She had like cards she was throwing down that did all sorts of things. So what did you think of this game from Riff Raff Games?
I like the name. I was teasing it on the stream. I was like, Riff Raff, they letting us through, baby. They letting us through. It's interesting because I like the art style. The first thing, it gave me like, remember that game Contrast from Compulsion Games?
Yeah, it does have that vibe.
It gave me a Contrast vibe mixed with a little bit of the recent game that I was playing. That was on Game Pass. Unfortunately didn't do well. Lamplighters League. And I don't know, just the energy of it. I got to see the actual core gameplay because a lot of it was more of a cinematic, giving us a feel of what the game's going to be as opposed to the actual gameplay, which I didn't see unless you saw something. But yeah, third person stealth. So I'm willing to give you a shot. You're on Game Pass to see what you do. Let's see what you do.
After this, we saw The Alters also come into Game Pass. This game looks awesome. One of my favorites of the show. This was at first looking like a indie sci-fi planet explorer. I was like, I've seen this a million times before. Yeah, the jog, the looking over the expanse. I'm like, I don't know how many of you need to be told this, but I do not care. I was like, I do not care about your vistas. What is in your game? But then they showed that shortly thereafter. So they have this base management mini game, very side scroller kind of stylized. Mind you, this is from the creators of Frostpunk, so it's going to make sense in a little bit. You're playing as this individual, and the reason it's called The Alters is because there are different altered versions of himself all throughout this base that he gets to clone based on decisions he made in his past that bring these characters to life. So it's very choice oriented. And these characters are going to propose decisions to you and you're going to piss off some and make others very happy. It's going to lead to infighting in your base. And you're doing all of this while like some cataclysmic events going on around you. So you're kind of on like a timer. It looks really, really good. Once they showed the whole scope of the game and wasn't just views and walking around, but like, here's the gameplay and like it's base management and you have to make choices. And these choices are with yourself pretty much. It was a really unique concept. Having it come to Game Pass, also brilliant. But I really liked what I saw about with the Alters. What about you?
Yeah, this was definitely at the top end of my excitement as far as the game shown. Because again, the concept, unlike you, though, I was impressed with the little walking in the vistas. My sci-fi sensibilities did peak. I did like what I was seeing. But to your credit, it was more than that, right? It was, okay, we got some base building, but what really impressed me the most is the actual gameplay mechanics of dealing with yourself and all these versions of yourself and the choices. Hey, what would you do if could you make this choice in life and go here? And then seeing those
manifest on the screen. And I like that side-scrolling kind of base stuff. So it gave me a little XCOM base building things there, but I'm very curious. It seems like a very unique title. And I like that, again, the AA and the indie scene, we're seeing a lot more of the creative ideas that are pushing, different things. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but I'm going to support. I'm going to give it a shot. I like this different attempt today, same kind of thing. And the different health and management and stuff like that. And decision. I love stuff like that. So I want to give it a shot.
Yeah, it really does look special. So I'm excited for it. It's also from the creators of This War of Mine, so that makes sense why I would have that sort of side-scrolly approach. After this, we saw Creatures of Ava. This is coming in 2024, Game Pass as well. This is a game that's defined as a creature saver game in which you have to help creatures escape from an infected planet called Ava. And you get to use a flute to communicate with creatures to see what they see and request their assistance to figure out puzzles, is how it's described in the Xbox Wire post. So yeah, we have a creature saver game here, Cog, and I'm wondering if this is an artsy fartsy game for you that's called your attention here. Again, coming day one to Game Pass.
I'm in the middle because normally these type of games I don't mess with, but I did like the art style, the animation.
Yeah.
I did think it looked good. And then I had the inside joke because it was developed by they were the person who wrote or directed his name, Rihanna. So I was like, oh, Rihanna's new game is out, y'all. So I'm in the stream acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? So I go for it. Like, I thought the engine looked really solid and it was really colorful and the animals looked nice. I need to learn more about it, but creepy Cog vibes got shut down a little bit and said, okay, Cog, let me see. You may be able to be okay next to this one. You may be, be able to coexist and not be too
the vicinity is safe.
I may be allowed, you know what I'm saying, to participate. So we'll see. I really like what I see so far. Need to see more.
This next one is potentially one of the biggest games of the show, given the platform, but I thought it looked rough. This is Griefville Cross Chucky. It's in Roblox. It's a new expansion. It's available today. They described it as alpha gameplay. And I don't know, man. I thought this looked horrible. I was like, how the hell did this get in the show? Like, it just looked bad. Like, it did not look finished at all. The animations there wasn't even a reticle for aiming. Like, it was bad looking. I don't know how. I mean, it's alpha, so I get it. But like, why are you showing this off? I guess the crossover is there. And that's why I'm sure it'll do well because Roblox is huge. But I just saw it. I was like, this was like a sales pitch for Roblox. Like, you do not have me at all, my friend. But Cog, did I miss something here with Griefville Cross Chucky?
I like the beat where he was murdering people too. The beat he was murdering people too was funny. Like I thought that was hilarious. Like this game's not for me, But to your point, yeah, I'm surprised that we talked about it on stream also, which is, I don't know how that works. Where clearly Xbox or someone, I'm talking about this, forget, this is all showcases, that if your frame rate or you have technical issues and you still are shown, like, how does that work? Is it a situation like, we don't want to miss this window, we don't want to miss this market opportunity, we just got to show something, and then Xbox allows it? Or is it a situation, I just want to know how to, because we clearly see there's some technical issues. And there was one other game that I felt this way, that I really felt like, damn, it took away a little bit of your thunder, because I like the premise, but yeah, this is clearly not for me. But I will say that game's huge.
Yeah.
That game's huge.
Matt Booty, I called it out in that business update, right? Like, so.
Yeah, that's one of them that prints money that hardcore gamers don't care nothing about, but the kids and the masses are playing it. So it's probably going to do well. It's probably going to do well. It just didn't show well for me, and it's nothing I'm interested in personally.
Yeah, same. Sinking City 2 coming out in 2025 from Frogwares. This is actually a really big deal, right? There, for those who don't remember, Frogwares was in a big legal battle with Nacon about Sinking City, and it actually got removed from Steam. They lost out on sales because of that. They were getting bullied by Nacon, to my understanding. Frogwares eventually won the legal battle and got the publishing rights to the Sinking City. Now they're making a sequel to it all these years later. And that's really exciting to see, because these kind of Cthulhu-style games, I remember I mentioned this in my video, so I apologize to those who listen for the overlap, but Carrick is big on these Cthulhu-style games. Like, he was my Cthulhu guy. Like, anytime I had questions about this sort of world, because he played like a lot of tabletop and whatnot, which leans into Cthulhu mythology typically, he had the answers, but he was also playing these games, the Sherlock Holmes games. Like, he was always like a big AA mark. who really pushed me further into AA. And so, yeah, I remember him talking up Sinking City, saying like, it's not perfect, but like if anyone ever is curious about these Cthulhu style games, like Carrick is the guy to go to. For those who don't know, Carrick ACG, he's the guy to go to. And so, yeah, Sinking City 2, I got to play the first one, but really interested to see what they come together with here, because again, Sinking City was in a ton of controversy, and I imagine they bled a little bit of cash because of that. But now they're here with the sequel, so it's awesome to see them follow up doing it on their own, because they were the only company mentioned in the trailer, just at Frogware. So this is all them here. So Cog, any thoughts on the Sinking City 2? It was a CG trailer, so to me, I'm just marking more so the announcement. But there wasn't really indications of the gameplay at all.
Yeah, true. I mean, I will say, like, when CG was looking like kind of nice. I ain't gonna fight like, whoo, it was looking kind of nice. But yeah, everybody was like, yo, Carl, it's not gameplay. We got to see more. But I like the concept of it. I thought that it looked, what they were trying to establish was kind of like a mind trip, and his imagination just going crazy. He's, one thing behind a tree getting attacked. Next thing you know, he's on a train track. And then I saw some Silent Hill energy to it. So the premise sounds dope. Now we just got to see the core gameplay and execution. But I have my eye on it. I thought that trailer did it justice so that people could get interest.
Yeah. After this, a bit of a reminder, Final Fantasy XIV's full release is heading to Xbox on March 21st. The beta is available right now. I'm personally not hopping in yet, but Cog, will you be trying it out at all?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I just got to wait until I finish things, but I'm going to give it a shot because it's I've heard too many things about it, just at least to try to see what it's about.
Yeah, launching a day before Dragon's Dogma 2 makes it an instant no-go for me. And Rise of the Ronin.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's tough.
I will be busy on both platforms. So I don't know if I got time for the MMO right now, but I do want to try it. I'd say sometime this year, but we'll see. I got some ambitious plans for the year, so I don't know if I can commit to an MMO yet, especially when I finally got my beloved Dragon Ball, got Tekken.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah, so we'll see. But it's something I'll get to. I know I will. This is one of the announcements of the day, man. I got to say, this was a really big one. Stalker, Legends of the Zone Trilogy, Shadow dropped, available today on consoles. Jordan Cruz wrote in, Stalker, hey Dukes, I feel like the meme of Rose from Titanic. It's been 84 years. I'm so excited to see Stalker finally come into console. Why did it take so long? I feel like this franchise is popular enough where it should have been on console long ago. Hope this means more to come for the franchise. Curious to know what you guys think. Thanks, Jordan. Thank you for writing in, Jordan. So this is one that's been recommended to me a ton. As a Fallout fan, I covered Metro a decent amount. People were like, you got to play Stalker. Never played it. It's here. They fucking shadow dropped it, dude. I'm like, I can't do this now. Like, I don't you guys know what I got going on? I can't do this today. In all seriousness, I do want to play it, but I know now is not the right time. Cog, Shadow, or sorry, not Shadow, include Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky, and Call of Pripyat, but Stalker, Legends of the Zone Trilogy is here. You're going to be checking this one out. What did you think of what you saw?
I like what I saw. It's a big deal. I did heard that this thing is like extremely intimidating. Like this is the hardest of the hardcore is what I've been told.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, like people like Cog, I just want to make sure you know if you attempt this.
Oh, wow.
And then they know me with survival. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, all right, I get it. Yeah. I may have to wait. Because I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, this, first of all, forget me and my own nonsense. This is a huge deal because a lot of people want to know the origins of this series and why is it so beloved? Because remember, the platform is getting part 3, right? That looked good and people were hyped about. Yeah. So this is dope. You know what I'm saying? They get a bag. I mean, they actually don't they get a big Game Pass bag, but they get this out there to get familiarity with the series. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a nice precursor to 3 for people who want to get into it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try them out. I think I'll try them, at least one of them, closer to the release of Stalker 2. Because I'm also interested, like, how do you have so many games in the series and then you're calling this next one Stalker 2? So I'm interested about that. But yeah, they look great. Like, they really do. I've been so curious about these games for so long. If I wasn't inundated with JRPGs right now, I mean, I'd be all over it. But I still want to wrap up Persona 3 Reload after I finish Rebirth. So I got some cleaning up to do, but yeah, this is one that's absolutely high on my list for this year. I'm very, very excited to play Stalker Legends of the Zone Trilogy. But again, for those who are interested, it's available today. I know it's on PlayStation as well. I don't know about Switch. I looked online to see if it'd be on Switch because I'm traveling soon. So I was like, maybe I can slide in a little playthrough. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't think it will be there. But nonetheless, Xbox, PlayStation, it's already available on PC. You can check it out. After this, they showed Monster Jam Showdown coming 2024. And I'll be honest, man, like this, I'm curious if you'll understand this definition as well. I said it reminded me of a PSP game in a good way. I say it as a compliment, by the way. Like PSP, I always think of like these arcadey, racy kind of games that just like you're crashing into things. You're doing all these crazy challenges in your vehicle. I think of like Wipeout. I think of a couple of others. Monster Jam Showdown looked good. Like it reminded me of that era of games, like just a fun spirit to it in a car. Do you agree with this? What was your takeaway from Monster Jam Showdown?
This one for me.
Oh boy!
Like that. I was completely distracted at this point. Look, it's a genre. I will say this is a genre that we don't see a lot of anymore. I will say, so that's a good analogy with that yester era. You know, that past era. I think of those. What was it like? MTX versus ATV, whatever those joints was.
Yeah, I used to play those a lot too. Holy crap!
I used to play them back in the day. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I'm not in that pocket anymore. But it's good to see those style of games still making a little comeback. So yeah, salute to them.
I don't know how I ever like you bet bringing that up and then saying like we've had a shared experience there. Like you played it too. I'm like, how did I end up on that game? Like, how did you end up? Like these are not our sensibilities at all. Like, how did we end up on those games? I really feel like there were the waves. It was like Need for Speed and Burnout. Like those are the big ones. Like, how did we both end up on MX versus ATV?
Yeah, for me, I know why. Because the MX joints, I've always liked motorcycle racing games and dirt bike racing games. So I was big into the enduro racers. This for my OGs that know that. And then like, what is the other joints? RC Pro-Am stuff like that. So there was a pocket where I loved that, dirt and the dirt bike jumping the hills and all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember their engine at the time was really good. And they kept cashing out and making more, and then they made the versus ATV type joints. So there was a pocket I was in there, but after a while, I just kind of fell out of it, kind of thing. But for me, it's always been the dirt bike. So I guess if this one would have had dirt bikes, then you probably might have had me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, that's a cog sensibility kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I played Untamed. And you know why I probably bought it? I'm looking at the publisher. It's THQ. Anything with THQ on the front. Bro, I was probably funding them individually.
Oh.
THQ was my childhood.
I was funding so many salaries. It was crazy.
100%.
THQ facts.
Number 10. Persona 3 episode Aegis. This was leaked. We covered it here on the show, so it may sound familiar. It's the Answer DLC. It's coming out September of this year. They also announced that on March 12th, you're getting Persona 5 and 4 background music that you can download. And then in May, they're adding the Velvet Room costumes and background music for that as well. But the real draw here is the Answer DLC. So just a quick Persona history lesson for those who don't know. I'll make it brief. There's Persona 3, and then you got FES. Just like with Persona 4, then Golden, or Persona 5, and then Royal. This was the re-release for Persona 3. So you had 3, and then you got FES. FES, what is it? It is a big dungeon crawling experience with like a couple hours of story tucked into it. It takes place at the end of Persona 3. So like after the credits roll, this is what happens. Following that, I will not get into narrative details because it's extremely spoilery, and it is relevant. It's definitely a highly contentious part of the Persona community.
Ooh.
And it'll be interesting to see it resurrected once more and what people think about it, because it is very much a game that, I should say, a part of the game that people think certain characters are ruined. Some think are maybe smudge the ending a bit. Some think is quite good. Some think is misunderstood. There's a lot of, I recommend if anyone's played The Answer, you should look up some thought pieces online about it and see what people think, because I think there's some interesting perspectives out there. One in particular, I think, is actually called Persona 3, The Answer is Misunderstood. And it's a really good video kind of explaining why this is actually a good piece of content for the game. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's egregious. Someone who played it recently. I kind of wish I waited. But yeah, nonetheless, episode Aegis is coming September 2024, and it looks pretty good, and it'll be available for Game Pass members. I don't know if it's paid or not, but you'll still be able to.
I was going to ask you, because we did find out on the stream that only Ultimate members get that.
Oh,
so this is the first one I've seen where
high class treatment.
Yeah, basic Game Pass don't get it. You got to be Ultimate for this one. So I was like, okay. Never see. All right. So I guess my question to you is, because I'm obviously don't have the history that you do. So why wasn't this included part of the whole
packaged from the beginning?
Atlas.
Bro, how they gonna reload it and then they this ain't part of the reload?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna try my own cog analogy here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so bear with me.
Let's go.
You're dating, right? And you know when you find that person that you think might be your forever, and you like the first 3 months in that honeymoon phase are really great.
Oh yeah.
And then you start to see like moments of out of character behavior, and you start to recognize it's kind of the real them.
Ooh.
So, you know, in wooing Atlas, Xbox says like, put this on Game Pass. This is great. You know, we get Persona all day.
Yeah.
And then you learn of Atlas's DLC and re-release behavior, which is quite sickening compared to the rest of the quality products they receive. But they may be in the runner for Ultimate Mercenary next to Square Enix, truly. Like they do have that kind of like this could have been. This is remember what I said when we were talking about the ultimate trifecta of Persona 3. I was like, take elements from portable, take elements from FES. Now it's like people are going to wonder, what about the portable elements? Like, what about the FemC? Like, you're doing 3 waves of DLC, and you're ending with the answer. Like, why not the FemC? Why not all that's entailed there? Like, do a whole big expansion for that. I get they don't want to turn into like a service product, but I digress. That is my analogy for Atlas, right? That the person you thought you knew that you were going to have a nice long relationship with, and you're like, yeah, we'll keep you arm's distance. We'll keep you arm's distance, right? Like you're pretty good, but you're not that good. So yeah, that's does that answer your question on why?
Yeah, a lot of gold digger tendency. Because I'm like, yo, isn't this was supposed to be reloaded, remastered? I assume that was all the content, and clearly there is an expansion pass for your remaster. Like I've never heard of it. This is new territory for me. I was like, wow, she could do that. Okay.
Yeah, they usually just do cosmetics. This is the first time I can recall, at least, that they've done like, here's new like 30-hour content. They are selling the entire pass right now for $35.
Question. So, but this existed already, right?
This did exist already. This is not brand new. They'll probably make changes within it, though, no doubt, because like they made not to the story, but they might add more to it to make the answer better, which is what they kind of did with Persona 3, I felt.
Second question. Is there more content other than this that still is not part of Persona 3 Reloaded?
Yeah, that's the portable stuff I was talking about, like playing as the female character. That's only been in Persona 3, like playing as a man or a woman. So yeah, that was in portable. Like not being able to choose your sex is something that's missing in this game, and it affects your social links and it affects your UI. It changes the music. There's a lot. Like it gives people a reason to replay. Like it's a really good part of that game, and that's all gone now. So
do you think that we may get expansion 2, the PSP Reloaded?
You know what's interesting is like because of your questions, it makes me wonder if like they're doing this DLC in such an expansive way now because of the Game Pass bag, right? Like they sold 1 million copies already. We know that. Like they're doing really well. And it's like a lot of these players who could have bought are on Game Pass, and now we're going to get you $35, and maybe we'll get a little bit more down the line. We'll get you up to 60 eventually. Just give us time. So that's my prediction, is that maybe after Wave 3, they do a little bit more. But I feel they would have teased like a question mark for Wave 4. That would have been really cool. But I feel it would have leaked by now because the individual who, by the way, we leaked my my little Jet Set Radio with guns in Fortnite last week, was the one who leaked this. And so they were right about that. So yeah, watch out. Jet Set, I'm putting you on watch. I'm telling you, bro, put the guns away. It's not worth it. Put the guns away.
Ooh, wow. Remasters with expansions. This is something.
Modern gaming, man. Great. The next, sorry, was there any thoughts you had on
No, that was it. That was it. I had to get these questions off. I was dying to know.
All right, just want to make sure. Next one shown off was the first Berserker Kazan. This was a Souls-like game built from the DNF Duel universe. DNF Duel is gradually expanding with like, they did a fighting game recently that looked really good. That was from not CyberConnect. That was from Arc System Works. It looks really good. And then now they're doing a Souls-like game that also looks pretty good, but as I have here in our show notes at least, frame rate is awful for this, bro. Did you see that? Like, how did this make the cut? Like, this does not look ready to be shown off at all. It looked visually, I should say, like art style. Like I was like, okay, I see the direction. Like, this is good. You know, the combat looked solid when it wasn't jittery, but I mean, dude, it was pretty fucked up here. So what did you think of the first Berserker?
Yeah, same thing. We had saw this Game Awards first. I remember very
Is that recent?
decent
Wow.
clip. Yeah, it was that recent. But I'm with you. I'm like, man, again, not the Souls guy, but I'm like, yo, the premise of this kind of like animated kind of style in the Souls game looks super dope. But that frame rate, bro, I was just like, how we doing this? How is this getting through? Yeah, I guess that's because it just, my thing is, for us, we the hardcore, we know the game could get better at over time and things, but I always worry about the first impression of a casual person watching that. And sometimes that first impression can stay. You're like, oh, I don't know about that frame rate, bro, because that was the only thing. The boss fights look absolutely fantastic. The weapons and stuff, everything looked cool. But it's just, they got to get that frame rate together. I think it did hurt from that presentation.
I agree. I completely agree. And it has no release date or window or anything. So I imagine they're just going to hopefully take their time and get that to where it needs to be. But I got to wonder, and I hope I learn how much control you have over your trailer and when it's shown off. Like, what is it? Because I got to know, like, I don't know if anyone chooses to be like, yeah, that runs like shit. Show that off. Like, dude, cancel it. Pull out. Like, if you're Xbox, there's 13 other games. Like, that I don't know, man.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
What's the decision? How is that finalized, right? Is it a situation where the publisher is not doing the quality control? Or is it a situation where the developer is so thirsty for the exposure that they're willing to say, yo, just put that joint on. We need this look. You know what I'm saying? I'm very curious. I'm going to try to see if I can ask behind the scenes and see how that
works. Let me know when you find out. Because that's something I'm super interested in learning. Like, what goes into the trailer launch? Like, not just gathering the gameplay and how you narrate and shit. Just like, how much control do you have over, like, hey, this sucks. Like, let's not.
Right. Because clearly Xbox is curating a list. Clearly developers must be reaching out for what could be ready to be on time. But then how is that finalized? Who has the final say on what it is? And is there any pushback that, you know, could happen, right? I'm very curious about that process, because I felt a game like this, which has so much potential, you know, hurt itself a little bit with that type of frame rate showing. And, you know, I'm just curious.
Tales of Kenzera, Zao, was shown off as well. This one's coming out next month, April 23rd, 2024. Looks like a pretty solid Metroidvania style title. Cog, what are your thoughts on this one?
Bro, I'm so hyped. Like, it's rare that, like, a game that you see and it's like, all right, I want to support you. Your mission seems pure. You know, obviously as a Black man with a game of African descent, and you know, he told a very heartfelt story about his father passing away for the inspiration. But let's be real, all that's cool, but with any good story, the game got to be good, right? That's what it always comes down to. And you know, when it first saw it, I'm like, okay, a lot of potential. But now seeing it, I'm like, oh, this looks fire to me. You know, I definitely like the different masks that give the different abilities. One was kind of like a sun style, fire style. One was kind of gliding. Then he had like this dual spear approach to platforming using puzzle elements. I'm getting Ori vibes. It just really cool. And then again, for the culture, a lot of cultural references. So to me, it's like Ori / Black Panther / like, it's a lot of things to me. It's hitting a lot of cultural notes. And then the voice acting was pretty good. I thought like he had some really, you know, authentic, you know, accents and being a shaman, the powers of being a shaman. So I'm pulling for Zao. I'm pulling for the dev. You know, EA's behind it, which is a good sign. EA original, and I saw some skill tree type energy. So I'm thinking, okay, it went from you my little engine that could maybe, and I'm just hoping you're decent, to like, oh, you might have something. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is more than that, right? So I'm pulling for him, man. Zao, the Tales of Kenzera, I'm in, man. Yeah, for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I think it looks great. I kind of got my fix on Metroidvania style titles with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, so I don't know if I'm itching for it now, but EA Originals is like a program I feel like right now, at least, you could pretty much bet on some level of quality. Like, I wasn't in love with Immortals of Avium, but it wasn't a bad game. You know, they were very close with that one, I felt. And Wild Hearts I never played, but it didn't look like a bad game. And then you got this one here, which doesn't look bad. So I feel like you can at least lock in that this should be good at the bare minimum. But it looks really solid. It's just interesting to get two pretty strong contenders in the Metroidvania category so close next to each other. And so this is a sneaky good year for the fans of that genre, and it could only get better if the new Silk Song game comes out. So
yes, forgot about that. Jesus,
new Hollow Knight game, Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Yeah,
but yeah, Tales of Kenzara looks really good. Then they showed off recently announced to be coming to PC Game Pass and reaffirmed here, Frostpunk 2. This is releasing July 25th, 2024, and this is another one, man, that I just right now it looks like it's releasing in the perfect point of the year because I can see myself throwing the hours into this one. Very choice driven, very dystopian look, very unique. And so I'm very keen to give Frostpunk 2 a look. So I will be there day one. So July 25th, lock that one in. Will you be checking this out?
I'm an eye on it. I don't know if I'm going to dive right in, but I do like the biome, icy wasteland, harsh thing, and decision making look
very cool.
As it gets closer, I'll learn more about it to see if it's really for me. Mm-hmm. But I will say it was visually appealing. And I was like, there's some things that looks like it has a potential that I could like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks really good. So not too much longer now. And the last game here, Cog, you actually start us off with this one. Kinnitsugami Path of the God is coming 2024. No release date or real strong narrowed window yet. And this looks pretty solid, but let's get your thoughts first because you seem pretty positive on it.
Yeah, this is one of those ones I fell in love with the moment I first seen it at the Xbox Developer Direct. And, just a beautiful, cultural start to it that I thought it had a lot of flavor to it. You're like almost this protector of this goddess. And, you're laying out the flower petals. You're helping to get her safe passage was the energy I got from the very beginning, right? But then I'm like, oh, okay, we got some combat. We got some flowing things. This latest showing, because at first I'm like, all right, this is Capcom. Let's be honest. Capcom's giving them a game. They get their big Game Pass back. It's a Capcom new IP. So let's be honest. There's a part of me that thinks, okay, you're not confident about it yet. You're willing to take this bag because you're not. And then we're going to see. But when I saw today was, you can now go with the villagers, assign them roles, work with them in conjunction to this day-night cycle where then the enemies come and then there's these boss battles and it was over the top. And I'm just like, yo, this looks really nice. There was a strategy layer that I didn't see to it because I thought it was just like a combat section to section kind of thing. So yeah, I'm very impressed. It's so like, again, it's so culturally relevant and I'm just liking what I'm seeing for that time period that they look like they're trying to represent. It just feels like a timepiece and I'm for it. So all the spiritualness, the mysticalness, the animations look solid to me. The enemies look solid. But again, the villager, almost like a more actiony, let's say tower defense, but like
there's a vibe though. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's different. I didn't expect that. It's like, yo, you can prep before this wave comes. I didn't know that was part of it. I just thought it was just pure action and that's it. So yeah, man, Path of the Goddess rises up my list more and more. And what's funny is I watched it. Alec was kind of hating when we first started. I don't know. And then like he saw some boss battles. He was, okay, I'm coming around now. You know what I'm saying? And for him, I know it's like a good boss battle always kind of gets him. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah. What about that? What about it? You in now? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm in. So look, it may not be for some, but for me, man, it's just that Japanese inspired universe. I love Xbox having these style of games on the platform, and for Capcom to not be confident with this one, and then the sword play going from boat to boat and that's the ninja. It hit a lot of my ninja samurai style. Yeah, that's what I want to point out. Yeah. It had a lot for me. This is a COD game through and through. I'm in, but what did you think? Am I overhyped? Is it still Maddie has some questions? Like, where's Maddie with it?
I think it looks really good. You know what's interesting is it reminds me of like as a game collector, there are these moments where I'll be like scrolling on eBay. I'll see like a publisher I know, and I'll be like, I think of this game from Bandai that I'm funny enough forgetting the name of right now, but it's like it was using the Tekken engine, but it was a 3D brawler, and forgetting the name of it. Unchained.
Okay. How old? Like
PS2 era, yeah. I can grab it off my shelf in a second, but
I'm feeling like just Tobal or one of them joints. I know what you're talking about. That it was like Tekken engine, but it had. I know what you're talking about.
Beat 'em up. It had like 6 strings, and I'll grab it in a moment once I complete my thought. But it was that's a game that I was scrolling. I was like, oh, Bandai did this, huh? Like, what is this game? Or like when you find Square Enix doing like the brawler or something along those lines, it's like, oh, okay, like Square did this. Interesting. Like you have this studio pedigree and you see them in their building blocks. And I feel like we don't get many of those nowadays. Most of these companies are established. And so when I see something like this from Capcom, I'm like, there might be someone years down the line who looks at Kunitsugami and goes like, oh, Capcom, like, you know, known for Dragon's Dogma 4 and Mega Man 20 is like, wait, what's Kunitsugami? Like, what's this kind of deep cut game? And so I love the spirit of the game. Game Pass is helping it out for me though. Like I see it, I'm like, yeah, this looks solid, but definitely doesn't excite me. But it's definitely knowing it's in Game Pass. I'm like, all right, I'll play it. I'll see what it's all about and then see if I want to buy it from there. But yeah, Kunitsugami looks, I felt like this was a good showing. It really described to me what the experience is like. You know, you set up during the day, you clear the defilements out and, you know, you set up all of the villagers and then you get ready for nighttime. And I'm imagining you progress throughout a plethora of maps, but I think it clearly communicated the gameplay. It looks definitely better than like Exoprimal, where you could kind of feel that lack of comfortability and confidence there. And again, I'll just say, because I hope someone from Capcom's listening, the time's ticking. Your talent's there for only so long. Put them on a Mega Man game, please. And thank you. That's all I've got to say about Capcom for today.
Yeah, I just want to say the other thing that really been impressing me about the mechanic is there was a part where he takes the sword, drives through the water, I guess peering the defilement, which looked kind of super dope to me. The second thing that I really, really loved was that the goddess herself seems to be doing something as you're working. It seems like she's also part of the gameplay loop, not this, you know, damsel in distress, you know, completely. Like she's doing things. So it's just a unique mechanic that I like seeing different things. And that's why I think the AA indie space, but this definitely seems like it got a budget. The only question for me now would be narrative. Like, is there a compelling narrative in it? Because the action and all the other beats are hitting it for me. Now, if you want to throw a cherry on the top, you have a nice little narrative and some voice. And now you really push it. I don't know if it got all that, but so far, so good.
I agree. The game I was thinking of was Urban Reign, by the way. Urban Reign. And then the other Square Enix game I was talking about wasn't the Brawler, it was the Bouncer. So,
the Bouncer, yes. I remember that.
All right. So that's the Xbox partner preview for March 2024. Pretty good showing overall. Thank you to all who wrote in about it. Next up here, last bit of news before we get into the Game Pass pick of the week. No dodge this time. Is what's coming soon to Xbox Game Pass and what's leaving. So coming soon, we have Paw Patrol World coming to console, cloud, and PC. By the time you're listening to this, it'll already be out. Then on March 12th, you get SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated on console, PC, and cloud. March 13th, Control Ultimate Edition comes to console, PC, and cloud. March 14th, you get No More Heroes 3, console, PC, and cloud. March 19th, you get both Lightyear Frontier on console, PC, and cloud, and MLB The Show 24 on console and cloud. Meanwhile, leaving Xbox Game Pass on March 15th, Hard Space Shipbreaker leaves console, PC, cloud. Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch Remastered leaves console, PC, and cloud. And Shredders, I remember Cog trying this one out, console, PC, and cloud. All of these leaving March 15th, so you have until then to give them a look. So yeah, man, this is like an old school kind of Game Pass list. Like this is that, we've been getting the quality over quantity for a while, but this is like, oh, we got that old joint here. It's like pretty good shit all from top to bottom. It's like a lot, that overwhelming feeling. I was like, oh, I miss this feeling, man. Like, you know, I love that we're getting a lot of day one stuff, but I forgot that sometimes they can just pop off and be like, here's a bunch of stuff for your backlog. Enjoy. And a couple of new ones here. Lightyear Frontier is a newer one, and MLB The Show 24 is newer. So I really like this list. What stood out to you amongst them all?
Yeah, strong list. I'm surprised to see Control Ultimate Edition, man, in there. That's a big one. You know, obviously the universe is getting a lot of attention right now, the whole Alan Wake. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for people to kind of get into this and say, hey, you know, what's part of this connecting universe? Because, you know, I still got to go back to it, but so many people rave about it. And it's like, damn, I got to get that done just so I can be part of the conversation. That's that kind of thing. But No More Heroes, man. Shout out to Suda. He's one of the legends in the game, Suda51. He makes the weirdest, most quirkiest games ever. And those No More Heroes games are goated by a lot of people. So I have
not played any of them.
Yeah, I say I am getting in there. There's no excuse for me now.
I feel like getting in them just from what I've heard.
It feels like Cog Energy and Suda is wild. I know the last time we spoke to him, he was making a game with Sweary that I don't think we like too much, this new one.
It didn't show off well, no.
It didn't show off
like
well
an
the
amazing
TGS.
collab.
Yeah, the collab was dope. But all out of respect for Suda, we need to play what people revere him for. And yes, No More Heroes, I will be firing that up. I got to know what it is. We had a developer on the show, I believe my man Ariel Knight, who he made a game, cool brother. And he told me that was one of his inspirations was Suda. Like a lot of people are inspired by Suda.
Oh, yeah. His games are out there.
And of course, the Mets are coming back. So, you got to at least fire the bad boy up with the polar bear.
I don't know if I'm that motivated to fire it up this year.
How we feeling? Are we okay to leave? Well, maybe the curse is off us. DeGrom's hurt, even though he's not on our team anymore.
Yeah. Curse is off us a little bit. It's just like you got to accept the Stearns era for what it is. Like, he's going to let this team just piss away a season. And I'm just like, all right. All right.
No, you know what it is? A lot. The counter argument is like, well, if we would have spent, there wasn't enough. Not there wasn't enough out of there, but maybe the growth from within and build up energy from some of the base.
Yeah, we need to clean out the garbage, right? Like I think we need to even let some of these existing players go. So yeah, I'm like, just wait and see. I'll see if Mets can get me into a baseball mood, but right now, like going into the season, I'm kind of like, especially what happened with Senga. I'm like, man, like why do we have these like season-ending injuries before the season ever starts?
We had that, and then what was it? We had our man, best closer in baseball.
Diaz last year.
It's like, bruh, like let this Mets energy, man.
Yeah, just let us play the game, man. We could be out there. Just let us play the game.
Just let us play. Let us be great,
I feel like I'm getting handed the borked controller. Like, when you were a kid, everyone had their favorite controller. And like, as a Mets fan, I'm getting handed like the sticky, sticky controller.
Don't click. You like, damn, the analog is loose. What's going on? Why we got to play under these conditions? Like, what's going on? I'm with you. That's a good analogy. I like that one.
Always I'm doing a good job this episode.
You're cooking.
All right, I'm trying. You inspire me. I'll just tell people that if you haven't played SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, please, even if you're a creepy kid at the park, go for it. Like
I might have to check it out because you've been raving. Yeah, you've been raving.
It's a great 3D platformer. Like you got all these playable characters, all these great collectibles. There's nostalgia there for sure, but it's look, man, one of my greatest moments in my YouTube career was making a Battle for Bikini Bottom video that got over 250,000 views. I was like, let's go. Yeah, it felt awesome. It was nothing to do with revenue, by the way, for those who are thinking that. Yeah. It's just knowing that I made a video about that and it got that out there. I was like, dude, that's what it's all about. Like,
what was it about? You just
I talked about, I called it In Defense of SpongeBob SquarePants or In Defense of Battle for Bikini Bottom because GameSpot gave it a 2, I think. And IGN gave it a 5. They're like, yeah, this is lazy. I'm like, what? Like, I usually don't do those types of videos, which is why I think they do well when I respond to reviews. Because there are just sometimes, like, reviews can be objectively wrong. Like, those games are not 2s. They fucking work. And they work just fine. They're not 2s. Yeah. No, not that one. Not that one. That's a 2.
Hey, I can't add on.
No, of course not. That was not your opening there.
That wasn't okay. I was shutting.
I am the thief of joy when it comes to Modern Warfare 3. I just want to make that clear. No one will have fun with that game as long as I'm the host.
Continue, sir. Continue. Good.
Yeah, like I remember that was the video. I was like not responding like in a negative way. I was just like, here's what it does really well. I was like, there's no way. Like even if it's like a 5, I'm like, how did you come down to that? Like what docked it 5 points where you were just like, yeah, this shit's like at best. Like what? I don't get it, bro. But I do have a lot of nostalgia for the game, and so yeah, that was a video I made. I recommend people check it out because now it's free $99. You got no choice. I gotta play Control. That's one that's calling my name. I gotta play Suda's No More Heroes. Like this is one of those cursed Game Pass lists where it's like I got a reason to play almost every one of these, and I don't have the time to.
Yeah, this is an old school Game Pass drop list from when we first started. Like, damn, it's too many joys. Like, what am I getting? Yeah, they used to flood us like this.
All right, Cog. That's it for the news this week. Now we do our Game Pass pick of the week. I have it for this week, and it's a fun one. I'm actually doing some work for Retro Rebound, a lot of it in advance, just because, like I said, I'm going to be away for 2 different weekends, so I need to just make sure all the gameplay is recorded in the right time. And normally when we do Retro Rebound videos, like we synchronize with like a thing happening in pop culture, a TV show, a movie, a comic. We'll figure something out. And then there are some that we call just like Locke and I, when we talk about, we'll call them like flyers, like, let's just do this, right? Like, let's screw the algorithm. Like, let's just do this. And this game is one of those, the Saboteur. Saboteur, I was scrolling around Game Pass and I saw it on PC Game Pass. And this is available through EA Play. It's not back compat on Xbox, so I do apologize to my console fans. But this is a 2009 game from, I got to make sure I get their name right, Pandemic Studios. Just want to make sure I got it. Pandemic was one of the goats for my childhood. They made Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. They made the Mercenary series. They made Destroy All Humans 1 and 2. Their last game, their swan song game is what I call it, was the Saboteur. And many people may know I was working on a documentary for Pandemic. I had interviewed their founder. I interviewed their former CEO. I interviewed the gameplay director for Battlefront. And I lost 2 files that made it where like I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I released the scraps of interviews I had on an episode of Ham Radio Podcast. So it's out there, and that episode didn't do well at all. So I'm trying to figure out if there's ways I can repurpose that information into some of the other stuff I'm working on, and see if I can also resurrect that project one day, because I was very excited about it. But yeah, they are a really talented team, and they've made some incredible stuff. And this was their final games, the Saboteur. And so what it is you play as Sean Devlin, who's an Irishman in Paris, and you are in Nazi-occupied Paris. And what's happening is it's all black and white. The whole game is in black and white. Now, it is, if you will, like an open world checklist game, but like Pandemic games just have a feel and a flow to them that just makes them so fun to go through. And since they were one of like the originals, really before even Ubisoft, I give them the pass on their kind of checklist approach. But the Saboteur, as you complete these objectives, you're liberating regions of Paris. And as you liberate them, color is restored to the map. And so when you're in a Nazi-occupied area, it's black and white. When it's not occupied, because you cleared out all of the objectives, it turns into color again.
Nice.
It's got a racing mini game attached to it, because I think the original developers on I'm crossing that up with Sleeping Dogs. I apologize, but it does have racing attached to it. It's got great third-person gunplay. You could wear disguises, infiltrate like Nazi bases. Like, it's got some fun hand-to-hand combat. Got a ton of nudity. You start off the game in a strip club.
Okay.
It's got a pretty solid story. Really fun trophy achievement list if anyone's interested in that. Like, it's a great game. A really, really good game.
And just right now, it's funny you talk. It's right in the strip club review part now when I'm watching it. Continue.
Yeah, it's just So that's a hell of an opening. But they make really fun games. They're one of the studios. It was them and BioWare that EA bought, and Pandemic in that new era of EA, unfortunately got shut down. And I think I'll have to listen back to that interview, but I think they said when I was interviewing them for the documentary, that was a mistake, that they shouldn't have sold off. They said that, and one thing I know for sure they told me is they went too fast. They said, because they released all those games I was telling you about. Mercenaries, I think, began in like 2003 or 4, but it was like that all the way up to Saboteur, and all of that happened in a span of like 5 years. Like, they said they did too many, their games couldn't breathe, they couldn't grow, they couldn't make as much money as they should have, and they were already working and funding the next thing, and so then they sold off. And yeah, I think the mistake really was like they were making games too fast. And they said, like, the people who worked there said, like, it was an amazing era. Like, you're just making these classic games back to back. Like, there was an energy, right? There was that feeling of like, let's go do this now. Like, and they were killing it. Right. But yeah, it's a studio with an interesting history and a phenomenal pedigree. And the Saboteur is a game that I really, really do enjoy, and it's available on PC Game Pass. And if you have a 360, you can play it there too. But PC Game Pass, and I think it's fantastic. I really do.
So PC Game Pass, I can get this on the ROG then. I can go.
Actually, I think you could. Yeah, give it a shot. Let me know if that works. But this game's really good. I really, really like it. Especially because I don't think enough games play with the ideas the Saboteur has, like freeing regions and giving them color. Like, what a great concept! Like, it's just the smartest visual touch. Reminds me a bit of like Death's Door, or like that Sin City look. When you saw color, you're like, well, that's blood. And like, that stands out. Same thing here with this game. It's got a unique visual style to it. And many studios don't get to go out on a high note, and at least you can say that Pandemic did, which is what they deserved. So
nice. Salute.
Saboteur, Game Pass pick of the week.
Yeah, nice pick. I like
also, I got the copy next to me.
Ooh, you got the official?
Art. Yeah, fire cover art. Look at that.
360 energy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of this joint. Yeah. This is a deep cut. I like this.
Yeah, this is a really good one. I was scrolling through. I was like, I think I've done it in the past, but it's been a while. I was like, you know what? I want to do it because I'm making a video on it and like I've been playing it and it's great. So
yeah, let's give it a shot. I like that. It looks dope. Never heard of it. I'm actually glad you brought this to my attention. Check it out.
Please do. I'm excited to get your thoughts on it. All right, Cog, we have one final question and then we're out of here. It goes to Unkempt Talk. Hey, Dukes, how do you guys prioritize what game you want to play? The reason I ask is because I'm a big JRPG fan who is still only about halfway done with Persona 3 Reload, has Final Fantasy VII Rebirth installed, and may or may not be fighting the urge to dive into Trails in the Sky after listening to Maddie praise the series for so freaking long. Anyway, that's it. Straightforward question for you two. All right, I guess I'll check this series out kind of day. Thank you for writing in on Chem Talk and for kindly obliging to my pandering of the Trails series. Cog, you and I are busy men. We have games. We have vices even nowadays. How do we balance all of this and still get the job done? How do you organize what you want to play, sir?
It's tough, but I stick to the tried and true. You gotta, for me, I am fortunate. I am not, I feel bad for Mr. Matty Play sometimes because it's part of the job. It's part of the job, He's got a big channel. He's a big time YouTuber, and he's got to put that content out. And, I get there's certain conversations you just got to be a part of because it's the zeitgeist. It's the biggest game kind of thing. So I understood that.
I had to beat that one.
I had to beat that, right? So you got that. For me, fortunately, just as predominantly my content is, podcasting and maybe developer interview, I've been fortunate to say, okay, you know what? I want to play what my heart wants to play. And there are times that I say, okay, you know what? This is the zeitgeist. You do need to be a part of this conversation. Stop what you're doing for a little bit, at least see what's going on. But it's kind of like the tech conversation where we had before, where it's like, there's certain things that they call me and I'm like, this is my comfort food. This is what my heart really wants to do. And sometimes I got to get that out of my system because what will happen is I'll go into the game that is either the zeitgeist or what I'm supposed to do. And I'm coming in with negative energy because I was like, I'm not ready to be here yet. And I did the smartest decision I made was with Infinite Wealth, and shout out to the cops, they agree.
Yes, sir.
They all cue with Infinite Wealth and Tekken. They dropped it the same day. And I love both games. But once I played Tekken, I'm like, I don't want to leave just yet. So Infinite Wealth waited a little bit. And I eventually got to it and I eventually beat it. But it was just, I knew what my heart wanted. You know what I'm saying? And you'll have moments like that. And I just feel bad from a pure content critic because I know how it must be for you. You've got to make business decisions. You got to make what your heart wants. It's a juggling that. So it's not easy, but I do realize, hey, every once in a while you got to go to your comfort food that makes you happy and get that out your system, and then you can get back. And the other thing I realized is I needed a break. I had to, after doing Infinite Wealth 100+ hours, it was a lot. I couldn't just go right into Rebirth. I needed a space. I was like, I went 4 or 5 days. I was like, I know I should be playing Rebirth. I know I want to, but mentally, I just got to get a little break right now.
But that mental matters because then you make more progress that way in a shorter period of time, right?
Yeah, bro. And I'm just like, I can't. And another rule I have is I cannot play a game if I'm tired. If I'm tired, I cannot. It's a rule. Like, nope, you're not going to appreciate it. You don't. And I will say that's another thing in defense of Tekken. Tekken gets my adrenaline pumping.
I don't get tired with that game.
And I don't get tired with that game. Like, if I want to stay up and I'm like, oh, shit, I got to stay up. I could throw it and it'll keep me up. So it has that effect. That's why it's so damn addicting. It's so. But those are some of my little tricks that I do for right now.
My starting trick is balancing at least 2 games. Like, you can do 2 at once. Some people do 1 at once, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think you can do 2. 3 is pushing it. I think you can do it, but it's tough to get time in on all. That's what I'm doing right now, like Tekken, Rebirth, and Dragon Ball. Fortunately, like 1 doesn't have a story, so it's like I don't really need to have progress. Tekken, I know if I really wanted to like wrap it up, which I never will, and like bang out the story, it's a 4-hour affair, and I could just do that tonight if I wanted to even. But I'm not going to. I'm saving that for like when I'm starting to lose fumes and it's like, okay, I need like a shot in the arm. Like that's what I've decided. I'm just going to draw out this platinum trophy now at this point. It's like, I'm just going to keep hanging around as long as I can. So yeah, to me, it's the organization of like 2 games. From there, man, yeah, you're right about the content creator side of things. I've made some fundamental changes how I approach things. Like, okay, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is an example. I talked about it a little bit, and I joke about the irresponsibility, but it was really like a follow your heart moment. I was like, yeah, I know people count on me to be there with like the big review, and I think it's important that I do that too. But if I don't allow myself to slip at least one time when I'm really feeling it, then when will I? And so like because I've spent like I put Baldur's Gate 3 on the shelf for like almost 4 months to do my work, and I'm like, I kind of didn't enjoy doing that. Like that was my most, before all the hype, I was like, that's a game that I had marked on the calendar the second we hit January for 2023. I was like, yeah, that's a must play. Like it sucks putting something like that down after you're like 15 hours in, because you got to move on to the next thing, which was Starfield, which I knew how much that mattered in my channel. It's like, I got to park it on this. And that was a soul focus game. That was like the only game I was playing. Like I ditched reviews for Armored Core 6 for that game. Like, yeah, I think I ditched, I'm sorry, I didn't even get a review copy for it, but I was looking to do Sea of Stars, but I never got a copy for that. So that doesn't really count. But yeah, I'm always making these types of choices. And so that was one of those moments where I bring all that up because like Rebirth was a moment where I was like, okay, I got like, I think at the time, like 40 hours in, I'm now like passing 50. I'm like, you know what, man? Like I'm doing this for a Retro Rebound video because that's where the code was provided. That's a channel that's known for like just talking and celebrating games. And I don't want to create a culture for that channel. Like my vision for that channel is very much evergreen and game celebration. And that can kind of be done whenever. I don't like, for example, for the Saboteur, I'm not going to do a full playthrough of the game for that video. And that's kind of like what the culture I want to brew is like, you know, for these celebrations of games and stuff. It doesn't always demand the full plunge. And for Rebirth, it's like, okay, I can either drop Tekken, drop DBS, drop everything and put I'm playing enough games. It's like I could put the 90 hours in that's probably required for this. Or I'm much more positive on the game because I'm just kind of like pacing it out really well. I'm like playing it for a little bit at a time. Yep. I'm going to turn up a gear this next week, but like I'm enjoying it a ton where I'm not doing it. So I'm like, get it over with. It's like, all right, I'm at the point where I'm really interested. We're nearing the end here. And I got to just push through to make sure that I give it the respect it deserves. So for me, that organization just comes to feel. Like it comes down to that feel of right then and there. Like my body was saying, like, enjoy Tekken. Like you don't feel this way about many games. Enjoy Tekken. Like, you know, you press through like even Trails Through Daybreak. Like I made sure I got that done in time for like the winter blowout of games ahead of Tekken and I think Infinite Wealth and Persona. I was like, okay, let me get this done then. But with Tekken, it's like, yeah, that's going to clash. And it's like, I just got to let it rock. Like, that's it. So I think it's a feel thing for sure. And I think it's also self-control. I think the biggest mistake you can do is like, the reason I want to get Rebirth done is because then I'm like closing it on Dragon's Dogma. Who knows if I get a review code for that? Who knows if I get Rise of Ronin for that? So it keeps me on the ball because it's like, I got to finish this because a code can land on my lap and I'm like, just like, it's not like a bad feeling in terms of like, oh shit, but it's like, I'm feeling like, I'm like, oh my God, like let's say I get Dragon's Dogma 10 days early, but I'm just like in the second to last chapter of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm like, fuck, but like, I got to start Dragon's Dogma, but I'm like right here at the end. And then you like disrupt one playthrough for the next. And so what I'd say to help keep you on track on Chem Talk is in situations where it's realistic, right? Like it's tough to say, hey dude, here's Persona 3 Reload. Have this done in like 3 weeks before Rebirth comes out. But you could do it depending on like your free time, but it's tough. What you should do though is try to mark certain releases and have goals of when to have them done by. Like that's how I transition pretty well. Or give yourself buffers because like, let's say, okay, Rebirth, did you need to buy it, right? Could you have like, make it the carrot at the end of the stick. So finish Reload. And when you're done, buy and install Rebirth. And if you're not like Cog and I, and you could just hop in right away, then do that the next day or play something else for a couple of days, but don't have it sit there kind of tempting you because then it's like you're feeding your problem. You know, buy the game once you're done. In my case, like I'll get sent a code. So it's like, I'm just going to redeem it. So it stares me in the face, but you can kind of opt out of that. Same with Game Pass. Don't do Game Pass window shopping until you're ready to actually, buy and play, I guess I would say. So that's my advice. Like, don't commit to the dashboard until you'll be able to play this and you have the availability to. Persona 3 Reload and Rebirth, I already knew was going to be a tough balance, and it is. Like, my Persona 3 Reload progress, I'm like near the end, and I'm like, dude, it completely is at a halt right now. It's going to be at a halt probably well into April because of I'm going to go from Rebirth right into Dragon's Dogma, I imagine, if I don't finish it next week. And like, that's how it goes, unfortunately. But it's also the selective process. Like, 3 Reload has a lot of new stuff to it, but I know Persona 3. So I feel a little more okay letting that slip a little longer, because it's like I'm not missing out like I am with Rebirth, where I'm like, I can't have this spoiled. It's like I know 3 Reload ends the same as 3. It's like I know. So I'm okay. I'm comfortable, but there are certain experiences that have to be prioritized over others, and that's just the unfortunate reality of it.
Yeah, no, well said.
All right, Cog. Well, that'll do it for episode 166 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Sir, it was a pleasure. Got to pick our hashtag for this week. What are you thinking?
Yes. I'm thinking, I don't know if we used this already, but I was thinking like, okay, Xbox Partner Showcase, the Toys for Bob potential partnership. So I'm thinking maybe like DD Partner or something like that.
I like that.
I like that. You know what I'm saying? My partner, you know what I'm saying? Like, sounds like DD Partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, that might be the go this one.
I like that. Okay, so if you got this deep into the episode, you can tag us on Twitter. I'm at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Use the hashtag DD Partner. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. We look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, you can use the comment section down below. Again, hashtag DD Partner. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Cog, we are out of here. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Another great one in the realm of the Duke. Salute to everybody on the support. The writings are on fire. The mobile, everybody's doing their thing.
Yes,
I'm seeing the love, man. I really appreciate it. It makes you feel good. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback the last couple of episodes.
It's been really nice.
Yeah, which is dope. So salute to everybody. Showing love to the realm of the Dukes. What about you?
Nothing else from me, man. I'm just really enjoying doing the show lately, especially, and the news has been entertaining and exciting, and happy to have the audience with us here. And so here's hoping for another busy week next week as we storm toward, I imagine, our next big milestone for this show will be the summer showcase, and as the rumors crop up for that, so we'll see where things go. Right now, as we speak, the rumor cropping up is Starfield on PS5, so it's back, it's sniffing around, so we'll see what develops in the next week or so for that. Right now, it doesn't look really substantiated, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then we got Hellblade before. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot. Yeah, Hellblade...
Forget Hellblade before the show.
I was about to say they got to market it more, but I stopped myself because I'm like, well, wait, 4 trailers.
2 trailers. We got to relax. We got to relax.
6-hour game.
Yeah, we got to relax.
Let's chill.
No.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. We'll see you next week for episode 167. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.